implemented thing that really worked for us.
Also have some really cool plushies in the background.
We can provide the results, and we can share what AI things can be done in the localization field.
I'm trying to make the life of my team easier with automation, with workflows that work fast. Join us on day 3 that starts at 4 p.m. on June 26th for our session
Automated Context Enrichment, Building an LLM-Driven Intake Pipeline.
And more phone support flashes that I'm gonna be like wishing all the time.
Hi, I'm Maja. I come from ServiceNow, and no, scratch that. No, start from beginning. I forgot everything I know about myself. ServiceNow has an AI platform now, and one of the reasons why we've turned to AI so much is also to help us in our everyday work. So what I'm going to present to you on Friday at 4:30 p.m. CEST is our own in-house built version of a TM AI cleanup. So don't miss it if you want to see how you can adapt that to your own workflows. Just watch out for my stupid jokes during the presentations. I will throw them in.
POEditor is a TMS for teams building software for global audiences. The problem it solves is that localization can get messy really fast without the right infrastructure. So we offer teams a workspace for collaboration that feels natural for them and that plugs in to the ecosystem they are already using. For example, GitHub, GitLab, Figma, and many more. We've been self-funded since 2012, so we actually bought a tool that users need rather than chasing trends. The most recent example is the MCP server, which we built because the developers already work that way inside the AI coding tools such as Cursor or Cloud Code, and it made sense to meet them there. This was an easy decision for us to make because the format of the Innovation Challenge, 10 companies, that style, and the fact that it is live streamed to an audience beyond the conference puts us right in front of the kind of practitioner audience POEditor is built for. We're hoping to see specificity, not we use AI to improve quality, but here's the workflow, here's what broke, here's what we learned from it. These are the things that we believe are actually useful to the community. Join us on the 25th and 26th as localization companies showcase how they're using technology, AI, and innovation to solve real-life challenges.
We are live. Welcome, everybody. Day 3 of our fantastic conference. Stefan, are you with us?
Barely. It's early here in Texas.
No problem. It's noon. It's 2 o'clock. Well, 1:30 in Lisbon. And Maria, welcome again. How is it going?
Maria is
Maria
frozen.
can hear us.
Super excited to.
We're just warming up. So, everybody, this is day 3 of our conference here with these fantastic co-moderators. We have YouTube. Hello, everybody. Great to see you. Good morning, good midday, good afternoon, good evening from for those from Asia. Exciting last day. Stefan, what is on the plate today?
Well, we're going to get a bunch more innovations from Jourik and Dave. I think there's 5 more presentations, and we are doing the hackathon results today as well. So I'm particularly excited for that. Let's see who's built the most promising solution. Gary was in yesterday already to debrief us a little bit on his progress. And we're going to be talking to him a little bit later on this morning as well. So he'll be able to tell us what's going on with the hackathon as far as he's concerned. And then we have some great presentations as well. Yana and Ksenia are going to be here. I did an interview with them just a week or 2 ago, so I'm excited for their presentation. And yeah, it's a full day of presentations and interesting tech geeky stuff. We're in our element.
I mean, this is what it is about. Today is the day of deploy, right? So it's foundation was day 1, day 2 yesterday was build, and today is deploy. So this is where we see the results of the hackathon. I'm curious, Maria, what are you saying? Do we have a winner today after 48 hours of craziness?
I think Maria is frozen in internet sphere. Maybe we should talk a little bit about what happened yesterday and do a quick recap. If anybody's interested in the really detailed recap, I've written one on my profile so they can read up and do some research and get the details there. Want to quickly remind you on all the things that happened yesterday. We started, of course, with a little interview with Maria and found out about her Olympic background. Dave and Jourik joined us with 6 presentations. We had Philip Cow, who showed us the multilingual content strategy, shift from SEO to AI search. We had Anna, who challenged the idea that every LSP should simply adapt to existing software, and sometimes the fastest way forward is building your own technology. We certainly agree with that. Jan Farah demonstrated that not every automation project requires a software engineer as well, and she concentrated on giving linguists the tools to automate repetitive work. We remember the bold statements of Adam Bittlingmeyer, who challenged the bullshit of QE, I think was the presentation. Absolutely. And then we had Arthur, who reminded us that AI should not replace 20 years of linguistic knowledge. We talked a little bit more about translation memories and terminologies in his presentation. And then we ended the innovation challenge with the presentation from Viveda Jean that incorporated knowledge graphs as well. And then we had 2 longer presentations afterwards. Priscilla Motola from KnowBe4 demonstrated the power of data and showed us how to find hidden patterns inside that data. And then we ended on Pavel Trismaku, who made a case for localization to be measured by business outcomes and showed off his Kraken platform as well. And those of you that were really privileged watched me and Sebastian Ciesielski in the paying portion of the conference, and we did an hour and a half together with Gergana on N8 implementations and development, so to speak. So that was a whole mouthful, Jan, but that was the whole program yesterday, and we're excited about the program today.
Absolutely. So that was, it was mind blowing. And there was a lot of things in there where we think like, Oh gosh, this is changing so fast. So our entire industry is changing so fast. And yesterday we had some of these glimpses, and before day one, some of these glimpses where you say, wow, gosh, let's work this out together. We have to be fast. There's a lot of innovation happening, and we will see much more of that today. Maria, I think you are now ready to join us. Is it?
Yes, hopefully my
there she
Wi-Fi
is.
is
Yes.
working better now.
Fantastic. Yes, please. Before you start a little bit with our housekeeping notes for today, just one shout out to our audience on YouTube as well. Thanks a lot for all your comments in the last few days. Keep it rolling. Again, we will have the same situation like yesterday, like the days before. You ask your questions in the chat and I will reply. Okay, so let's go for Maria with her housekeeping notes.
Perfect. Thank you. So before we begin, just a quick reminder that an interactive session. So if you're on Zoom, please use the Q&A feature to ask your questions. If you're on YouTube with Jan, then you can feel free to use the comment section to ask all of the questions that you want. There is no limitation. And finally, if you're part of our Slack community, I would love for the conversation to continue there as well. And the three of us, and with some help on the backstage as well, we will be collecting all of them throughout this session. So let's get started. Over the last few days, you have heard from all of our speakers, and Stefan just did an incredible summary. We have more today, but now we would like to do something different. We wanted to hear from you. So I've invited a few members of our audience to join us here on stage, on our virtual stage, because we would like to get to know them better. We would like to know what they do, what they're passionate about, the trends that they're following, and of course, how they have experienced the conference and the hackathon so far. So Stefan, can you introduce us to our first guest today?
Yeah, Mark Jones is joining us if all goes well. Mark, are you there?
I am here. If you
We
can
can
hear
see
me, okay?
him. We can see him.
All right. But we just met backstage, and Mark and I have been interacting online for a long time. I always think this is the best benefit of being involved with these conferences, whether they're virtual or in person. When you get to meet and interact with the people that you've been interacting with online and sharing comments with on LinkedIn, and Mark's been very active on LinkedIn with me in the past, so it's a privilege to meet him here, and I'm very happy to see that he's growing a beard as well. That's a trend in localization apparently. So good job, Mark. You're an experienced technology leader and a language professional. You're also the head of technology at Comtech. Yep. I assume that you've been enjoying yourself plenty here in the last couple of days. Am I wrong?
I don't think you are wrong, Stefan. No, it's been really nice to kind of see what other people are doing and building, right? Like it's the land of opportunity at the moment in terms of being able to kind of build and deploy solutions. So it's been really nice. I even enjoyed the workshop on N8N yesterday. It gave me lots of ideas, right? See, so yeah, no, it's been a tool that we've been using for a while. So it's nice to see how others are kind of using it too, right?
Awesome. And I was going to ask you what presentation has inspired you the most so far, but maybe you're just buttering me up and you're telling me it was the N8N one. But tell me, is there another presentation that you really liked that inspired you?
I think the innovation challenges has been one that's always kind of stands out. I know that other conferences have kind of started to do that, and it's been something that Dave, for example, has been doing with the team at the PIC challenge for a while, right, with Lockworld. I think it's always nice to kind of see these solutions and the things that people are doing and how it kind of makes a difference. I have a little bit of a soft spot for the presentation that Vivetta did on the knowledge graphs, because that's actually one I've been following quite closely for a while. So even when that kind of started out, so it's nice to see the
Knowledge
sort of
graph or vectors, Mark? Knowledge graphs or vectors? Which ones do you
uh,
prefer? Which one? There's lots of disagreement about that. So maybe you have an opinion about that as well.
um, put me on the spot, Stefan. We have a saying in the UK, horses for courses. So I think probably trying to find maybe vectors for certain things and knowledge graphs for others. Knowledge graphs in regulated industries, definitely. And I think probably Vivetta's presentation probably shows you the value of doing that, I think.
Awesome. Yana and Maria, do you have any questions for Mark?
I have one.
Go ahead, Maria.
Thank you, thank you. Okay, Mark, is there anything that you have heard so far that was like your aha moment? Like, I used to think this, but now I think this other thing
Um,
about
I don't,
AI.
I don't think there's been any aha moment like that in that sense. But in the innovation challenge yesterday, Jourik asked a question to one of the presenters, and I don't remember their name, unfortunately, but it was the presentation around building a custom TMS like solution in AI workflows. And I think the comment was, well, why would I wait for the provider to do something, or try to sort of get into that situation where I can go and build something for me that fits my purpose and I can own and and just kind of build in my own workflows and build it how I want it to be. I think it's always that sort of challenge with build versus buy, but in that scenario, they've built something which is, really fit for what they want to do. And I think that's quite refreshing. It's quite nice to be able to see that kind of way of thinking in terms of, right, okay, well, I have the opportunity to go and build something. I'm going to build something which really works for me. And it doesn't really matter what anybody else thinks. It's kind of, this works for me, and that's what I'm going to kind of do, really.
That presentation I really enjoyed as well, Mark. There was always this tension between building yourself, and now with vibe coding and all this, it's also possible. But the question they've asked, is this sustainable in time? That is where we will see in the next couple of months and years how this evolves.
Absolutely.
I
Absolutely.
have
I
one.
think
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I was going to say it's about resource, right? Like, it's about infrastructure and resource. I think if
Right.
in anything in that conversation, if you're able to put the resource and the infrastructure around it and make it sustainable, then definitely, I think it's particularly with vibe coding as well. I think is if you're trying to do something for the sake of doing it, then that's more of a challenge, right? But in all of those presentations, I think everybody's quite focused and clear on what they want to achieve, and I think that makes it more sustainable in that way.
Yeah, absolutely. Stefan, I don't know if there's room for another question or.
Yeah, well, go ahead, Jan. If you have a question, fire it off.
Of course, because Mark, you in your position and all your background and so on. So I think one of the questions also our audience worldwide is seeking an answer to that. What skills localization managers nowadays should go for? Do you have an answer for that? Do you have a feeling, is it programming? Is it integration handling? Is it whatever? What do you think is a good skill for localization managers to start concentrating on today?
I have maybe a slightly controversial take on that, and that is I don't think there's necessarily a set of skills. I think for me, it's the personal skills that are more important. So it's things like being passionate about what you do and finding enjoyment in what you do, and also being curious. Curiosity for me is the big one. Like going out and being able to figure out things and just listen to what other people are doing potentially and get ideas and then go away and build them. I think those skills in a lot of cases, okay, there's certain things that you have to really put time and effort into learning, and some of those technical skills definitely around more programming, coding skills definitely I think will be one thing where people will sort of set them apart from others. But I think that's easy. That's easier to learn in a way versus having those other sort of personal skills. Because
What's Mark Jones doing other than attending the GenAI and localization conference to stay up to date? What skills are you learning, Mark?
So a little bit of coding, obviously lots of vibe coding, lots of automation stuff, orchestration, so NAN, Blackbirds, being in that space, customization, so the AI stuff, prompting, building pipelines, all the stuff, all the kind of things that are going on, right? Like I wouldn't say I'm any different to lots of people in our industry right now, but yeah, just kind of talking to people, like you know well enough. Stefan, you mentioned it, right? Interacting with people. We talk a lot on LinkedIn, and but being curious about what other people are doing, talking to people, having conversations, being honest and open, and accepting that in certain cases you might not see eye to eye with other people's opinions. That's why I like what Adam said yesterday, right? Like he was very open and honest about his opinion. That's his opinion. If you agree with it, then great. If you don't, you don't. That's fine. But almost from those challenging conversations, being able to bring an opinion and challenge, that's how we move forward. That's how you innovate ultimately. So yeah.
One of the biggest senses that we've had, I think, over the last year is that there's this openness to building, or it was almost as if in the past you needed permission to talk to engineers or get a budget before you could even think about automation. And now there's lots of experimenting going on. And I get that sense that there's a lot of people in our audience these last 3 days that are on the same page, that are trying out new things and that are not waiting for permission to experiment anymore. Is that what you see in your organization, just the same?
Yeah, I think so. It's definitely what we're seeing now. We're trying to kind of foster that idea that people can bring ideas and bring things to the table for us to look at and then build. I think what we try to do is to, and I think this is the challenge for lots of teams, is to keep ownership over that, so you don't have lots of experiments running at the same time and moving in different directions. And we put a bit of structure and focus around those things.
Right.
But definitely there's definitely a willingness to be more
Okay.
forward thinking, right?
We should bring in Gary as well. Gary checked in with us yesterday already for the hackathon. And Gary, you've been building away these last three days. Give us a little update on where you're at and what you're building.
Hi, Stefan. Hi, everyone. We've been working on challenge number 3, which is a website reviewing tool. And the group is split up a little bit. We've kind of all gone in different directions. I think there'll be several submissions, but I've got a little demo. I'm excited to show it. It's been a lot of fun. I was thinking of adding another feature today, but then I had to make a video this morning, so I'm not too experienced with that. But it's all done. I submitted.
Yeah, the video stuff would be easy for me, but it's the hacking that would be more difficult, right, Jan?
Absolutely. And I'm amazed that you all guys, find the time to develop all this stuff for this conference, for this hackathon, beside your regular jobs. So I think thumbs up, huh?
Seems like a lot of fun to me. I'm really enjoying it. I discovered Claude Code only a few months ago. I've done a lot of computer science over the years. I studied electrical engineering originally. My background is not in translation, and I just love it. So
So since you
fun of a
you have an engineering background, then you've been involved in this for a very long time. Do you really feel that it's gotten a lot easier now, and you have access to things that were much more difficult in the past, or is it just a figment of our imagination, and is it still
No,
just really
it's
challenging?
stunning. It's really stunning how fast now it's possible to deploy something. With a friend back a few years ago, we wanted to build something, and it just took a long time. We hired people, then I learned to do it myself. But now that project could be built in a few days, a prototype. It's stunning. I even feel like since February that Claude code has gotten faster and better. It might be just because I know how to prompt better after having built 8 or 10 projects since then.
Yeah. And would you say that in comparison of what you were doing in the past, is your activity completely different right now? You do any manual coding? Is
Well,
it all AI generated and then corrected, or what's your best practice right now?
for this project, I've really just it's been all live coding, and I opened the code a little bit. There's a bunch of JavaScript. I could see that Claude had written prompts to send to the Claude API, but I haven't looked at any more than that. So of course, to go past a prototype, I would want to look into that. And I've discovered in the past on another project that Claude fights any effort to what's the word, to rewrite the code, to refactor the code. I feel a lot of pushback. It's like, why do you want to do that? But because I want to understand, I need to keep up to speed with what you're doing. But I've given up that constraint this time.
I've been developing databases for 25 years, and there used to be a time where if I ran into a database issue, I would have to go to the user groups and scour the conversations and maybe post something and have somebody respond and then learn from another person. Nowadays, I just go to an LLM and I ask the question there, and a lot of times the answer I get is like the direct solution. I was wondering whether for people that work in coding, that's pretty much the same modus operandi.
It's really moved that way. Yeah, I used to spend a lot of time on Stack Overflow looking for queries. Now I found there can be another mode of vibe coding, hybrid vibe coding, where I control the code, but I have a chat window open and ask Claude, and then I can paste code in there. It's just so easy. Claude can 95% of the time can find the answer so quickly. And then also configuring big software packages, like installing different Python packages on the machine. In the past, that could just take so much effort, but it's so much faster. That's why really I had given up on coding. But since February, I thought, wow, I can go back, open all those old checklists with projects and start to try to do them. It's great. It's an amazing time.
Gary, we look forward to seeing you in the hackathon in a little bit. We have one more audience member that we want to quickly call on stage and get some feedback from. Maria, who do you have on deck?
Thank you, Stefan. We have Mihai. I'm not sure if I'm going to pronounce the last name correctly. Mitablenda. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Welcome.
Hello, everyone.
Did I pronounce it correctly?
Yeah, it's close enough. It means kitty cat, translated from Romanian. So it's interesting surname.
Are you in Romania right now?
No, I'm from Moldova, actually. The office from there.
Perfect. Thank you for joining us. Maybe if you can let us know a little bit, we have been talking about all of the different skills that not only our speakers have, but also our audience members. So I think it's super exciting for us as the moderators, but also for everyone watching us right now on YouTube, Slack, on Zoom. What would you say are the skills that you have been able to use the most during the last 3 days while learning from all of our presentations?
Yeah, so curiosity is always like my number one skills, as always have been. Got me a lot of success in my career, I think, and a lot of troubles as well, because I don't know, sometimes you have to like step further than your team leaders or something like this. So attending to this conference, I could see that other people sort of doing the same, and I understood like it sort of helped me calibrate and connect a bit with everyone. So I know that I'm not very behind or not very far away. So that's a great thing to do. I mean, to calibrate and to be curious.
That's why we are all here, right?
Yeah, hopefully.
Absolutely. No, it's wonderful, and I think this is what you just mentioned is one of the purposes Konstantin pushed it with this conference to bring us all together again and to have this constant check in what's happening outside and what's happening in our minds, because right now it needs this calibration. Love the expression.
Yeah, I mean, like each business, it's free to, like we have clients and then we have the business and we are free to do whatever we want with our workflows and so on. So it's interesting to connect and see what everyone sort of doing. I mean, it's far away to understand, but it's still a good idea.
Absolutely.
All right, Maria, I think we are slowly but surely getting ready for the innovation challenge. Is Jourik and Dave ready to jump in?
We can first, before we go into the innovation challenge, thank our amazing audience members for joining us today. Yes, an applause for them. And thank you for sharing your expertise and what you're building and working on right now. It was a pleasure.
Absolutely.
All right. We should probably have a quick word about our sponsor, POEditor, as well, and thank them. They're offering a 25% discount automatically for conference attendees who register as new users. So go check POEditor out online. Maybe we can put the link in the chat and make it easy for people. And Jourik and Dave, glad you're alive and well this afternoon in Europe. Jourik, you're getting ready for Belgium to play later on today. Root them on from me.
Yes.
We're crossing our fingers.
This
is a must-win game for us. How's Ireland doing, Dave?
Doing grand at home.
They're waiting for the next one with Italy as well. I think.
Yeah, exactly. We decided to let everyone else have a chance.
Listen, so maybe we're lucky. Maybe we're lucky there's not a fourth day of conference tomorrow, because it could very well be that me and Jourik will ever hang low by tomorrow as well. So we shouldn't beat our 100% too loud. Anyway, I'm handing it over to you guys. What do we have coming? I think there's 5 presentations today, right? Why don't you tell us?
That's right. Thank you very much, Stefan. Welcome everybody to the second round of the GenAI in Localization Innovation Challenge. We're going to follow the same recipe as yesterday. So you can expect innovations across different disciplines. Today, I think we have lined up for you audiovisual, we have terminology, we have TMS, we have automated post-editing, we have quality, so lots of good stuff. You can expect different presenter profiles, representatives from big LSPs, small LSPs, specialized solution providers, tech companies, and finally, more importantly, we have different approaches and visions and opinions about what innovation can or should look like in our industry in the current AI climate. Just like yesterday, I am joined by industry legend, Dave Ruane. Dave, great to have you here with me. Please walk us through the structure of the session today.
How about legend? But great to be here. And yeah, You didn't ask me how I was, Jourik.
People, just like yesterday, if you catch me staring at the ceiling, it's Dave making jokes and I'm not getting them. That's what's going on here.
I sense a little bit of friction between the two of you. I don't know what you guys
absolutely
are.
not. We are having so much fun. We are having so much fun. You have no idea.
This is a T2 couple.
It's positivity is important, folks. And that reminds me, my neighbor asked me for a lift this morning. I told him he looked great.
Hey, but
And you took him.
Management is telling me we should have a quick word from our sponsors, Dave and Jourik. Is that correct?
Yeah, well, thank you very much, POEditor. Are we going to hear something?
The future of localization isn't built in theory. It's built by teams solving real problems every day. The Innovation Challenge is proudly sponsored by POEditor. So join us as localization companies share how they're turning ideas into reality.
Wonderful. Short and sweet. So innovators are going to join us now. They'll have 4 minutes to pitch. We'll speak to them for another 4 or 5 minutes. If you've got a question, you can shoot it in the channel. We'll try and bring it into the conversation. We're going to go quick as usual. Yeah, let's get things moving. So, hey, Jourik, we did have a poll yesterday, didn't we? And you're showing it there. And this is really just to kind of gauge this isn't a competition. So from yesterday's innovations, we asked people, do any of those innovations resonate with you? So Anna had a kind of a really interesting take on, hey, I'm not going anywhere near existing technologies, right? I'm going to build my own. And she did, right?
Absolutely. What I took away from Anna's session was like, I don't care what tech companies are doing. I'm solving my own problems and I'm having lots of fun while doing so. So that was a very strong statement.
Yeah, and then we had Ariana, and she was talking about this kind of idea of having a framework where you could build code without having the expertise to do it, and vibing and Python, and she had linguists doing stuff they probably didn't think they could do. What do you think of that one?
Yeah, I loved it. What I loved about it is that she emphasized that it's not about the use case that she was building, TM helpers, generators. It was more about the harness and the framework around the AI models, which was also brought up by Jourik from Phrase, by the way, in the keynote. So we are seeing confirmation across presentations, which is always good.
Yeah, and then as Anna was saying, no, TMS let's do something new. Arthur was saying, hold on a second. You've got good legacy assets that come from an older way of doing it.
A strong statement. The future of TMS is grounded in history, heavily relying on translation memory matches and term-based entries. Very strong statement, especially when people are claiming that TMs are getting obsolete. Very nice presentation.
And Vivetta, as usual, really showed us, the data, the research, the depth behind what she was saying about fluency being not the same as correct.
Exactly. Knowledge graph mediated translation. Knowledge graphs, I think it's unknown territory for many people in the industry, but it definitely generates interest, which we're seeing in the results from the poll.
And Adam, who's built out a kind of his own space in some ways, some would say, at least, debunked a number of myths about quality estimation.
Absolutely. Pioneer in the space of quality estimation. I wasn't following the chat, but I noticed that it was exploding when Adam was presenting. So that must mean something.
And we expect more of that today, right? And then what do you think of Philippe's pitch yesterday?
Very strong way of tackling e-commerce content creation. The only presenter to really focus on multilingual content creation. He did a very good job. It was a very nice addition to the Innovation Challenge.
Excellent. Well, that's yesterday. We're here today. At least we should be, right? What day is today? So let's get things moving on. And first up is going to be who, Jourik?
Absolutely. I would like to call Ligia to the stage. Ligia, I really hope I'm pronouncing your name properly. You told me how to pronounce it. I'm trying my very best in proper Portuguese. You are representing the audiovisual localization space for us. Whenever you are ready, the floor is yours.
Okay, we can get started. Hi, everyone. I'm Lígia Sobral Fragano, founder and CEO of Avalon. We talk a lot about AI transcription and post-editing, right? But in audiovisual localization, we almost never talk about segmentation. And that's the gap Avalon was built to close. Next slide. Thank you. Subtitlers don't just transcribe, they decide. Every subtitle is a segmentation decision. A subtitle is where meaning, timing, syntax, and reading pressure meet, right? So a good subtitle isn't just correct, it is felt. And the problem is most AI workflows start after that decision has already been made. Next. So let me show you what I mean. This is a short excerpt from Scent of a Woman, the movie. Same audio, same words, different segmentation. On the left, Evelyn matches the professional reference. Their spirit is dead if they ever had one. And then it's gone. That final sentence stands alone. It has its own weight, its own pause, its own rhetorical force. Now look at the version on the right. Their spirit is dead, and then if they ever had one, it's gone. Same words, right? But the relationship between them has shifted. In the professional version, if they ever had one, modifies their spirit is dead. And in the other version, it starts to modify it's gone. So this is not only about layout. Segmentation changes the meaning. And this is not a transcription problem. It's a segmentation problem that impacts everything downstream. Next. So we ran a small benchmark to measure this. 1 minute of audio, clean scene, minimal noise, clear speech, right? Just Al Pacino being a great actor. In other words, optimal conditions. And that matters because in these conditions, transcription accuracy was not the main variable. The words were mostly there. The difference was structure. We measured the outputs using sub-ER, subtitle edit rate, against a professional reference. So lower is better. Evelyn scored 1.2. Simon Says and Made Sub by Translated scored 10.2. Easy Titles, 12.7. And a raw ASR scored 16.3. So in this benchmark, Evelyn had an 8 times lower sub-ER. That's a lot. Of course, this is not a broad statistical claim yet. A larger study is part of my ongoing master's research, but the signal here is clear. When the words are mostly correct, the remaining quality gap is segmentation. And in real production, that gap becomes very expensive. Next. So the difference is not automation, it's architecture. Evelyn was built from professional subtitle practice translated into system design. The system handles linguistic and timing constraints together, right? Before any work on the file begins. That is the shift to left move we are proposing. Segmentation is not treated as something to clean up later. It is treated as infrastructure. So the translator receives subtitle-ready units, not a segmentation problem disguised as a translation task, right? An actual translation task. Professional subtitles and companies who know what a bad segmentation costs will use Avalon for sure. Next. So Avalon is not a shortcut, it's infrastructure. Before post-editing, before the file, before the translation, that is where segmentation becomes infrastructure. All benchmark materials are available through the QR code, the SRT files, and the sub-ER paper, so you can run your own comparison. Thank you very much.
Wow, really nice job, Lígia. And I learned something new there. I'm sure other people did as well. We want to dig into it a little bit and have a little conversation with you. So let's start with the question on maybe a technical question. You can join. So this is a well-known bottleneck in audiovisual localization and conversion, transformation. Have other people cracked the code, or if they haven't, how come other technology players haven't cracked that code? Why is this still a problem?
I believe from where I am that this is a very data-driven kind of innovation. So it's decades of state-of-the-art subtitles being produced in-house. The AI has made possible as a system. I don't think this major, maybe they're just not concerned about that yet. So it's always a race, right? I believe it's always a race. But I do think that this data set is where the secret actually is, and it's ours. It's our own unique contribution to our market, our industry.
Lija, good job. I'm impressed by your presentation. I do have a question for you. The title of the conference is, of course, GenAI in localization. Where does GenAI come into play here? How do you benefit from AI? Or how do AI models, AI workflows benefit from the work that you are doing with your company?
Okay, so GenAI is part of the proprietary model that we trained. So we did some machine learning around segmentation. So that's mainly where it is. Of course, we are using ASR engine, so that's all AI as well. But the innovation part is our proprietary model on segmentation. Yes, that will be the main.
Impressive. Thank you.
Can you talk to us a bit about how did you go about building this innovation? You know, what was the kind of, hey, we've got to do this. This needs to be solved. Or was there some kind of moment or moments, or did it kind of evolve from something initial and then become iterative?
Yeah, we did not build it thinking of selling it. We built it internally at Little Brown Mouse, which is our AVT company. We've always been very connected to innovation and automations, and we used automatic transcription, but it was not very good. And then when GenAI, became a thing, we were already testing it, and we were like, oh, okay, this is different. Now we have much better results. And we started using this very good transcription, but in production inside the company, it wasn't as useful because the formatting was so bad. And we spent a lot of time correcting that. So yeah, then we got to studying AI and started building this segmentation model. Yep.
And so I'm getting the sense, Jourik, that it's, there's a certain amount of a passion project here, and correct me if I'm wrong, Lija. And why was, can you talk about feeling when it comes to subtitling just briefly? Can you tell us why that's important?
Sorry, Dave, the audio got bad for a moment and I didn't get the full question.
Yeah, sure. So when you say, there has to be the right feeling for getting subtitling right, can you explain that a little bit more?
The right feeling?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think let's just focus on, the example that I brought, because I think that's going to be easier. It's what I said. It's not a correctness problem. The words are all there. They're the same words. But unfortunately, we don't have the time here to actually watch the scene. That would have made a lot of difference to the argument. But, well, it's AVT, right? So, yeah, when Al Pacino says the sentence, it's gone. It's very much a unit. It stands alone, and that has a lot of dramatic weight. So when you just put it together with the sentence that comes before that, that's just it really changes like the weight of the scene, and that has to do with segmentation and punctuation. You would have thought that this is something very human that machines would never understand how to do, but it actually has the basis of it is segmentation. So I think we just cracked that code. Yep.
Maybe one more to wrap up Lija's presentation. A very spontaneous question here, Lija. So I think we all know that the target language is also a very important factor in successful audiovisual localization. Does your solution prove clear added value for right to left languages, Arabic, Hebrew, Asian languages without spaces? Do you see like very clear improvements there as well?
We are working on that. We have professional segmentation for 25 languages right now. We do transcribe in over 70 languages, but the segmentation is only there for 25 of them at the moment, precisely because we need to fact check if it's working. It's not that easy. We are a very small company, by the way, a very, very small company. So yeah, we're doing our best to make that very democratic in terms of different languages from different places. We're right now mainly focused on Latin languages and English, but we're gonna get there.
Crystal clear. Thank you.
Hey, great. And I see a question in the chat as well, Ligia. So maybe you can have a look at that when we're finished here, which is going to be right now. And thank you very, very much. Hey, Jourik, how's your Al Pacino impressions? No? No?
I can do other impressions, but not Al Pacino. No, and let's not do that like in this right now.
Kincaid, welcome to the stage. We're going to hear from you right now. How's your Al Pacino?
Not great. And it's 7 a.m. for me, so I'll hold back on the impressions this morning.
Excellent. All right. Good stuff. Well, over to you.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. So yeah, appreciate you guys having me here today. Kincaid Day here at We Localize. And what I'm going to be talking about today is the new localization stack. So orchestrating AI for cost, quality, and risk all at once. And what that really means is, what is the market demanding? What are our customers asking for? And how are we kind of optimizing this at scale? So you can go ahead and go to the next slide. So as we know, with the introduction of LLMs over the past handful of years, we've seen a big shift, obviously, with our customers, me on the LSP side, and those folks that have a local responsibility within an organization. They're asked to do more with less, very common theme, i.e. create more content at scale. They also need to be able to prioritize pipelines. And what I mean by that is, with the introduction of AI, you're also seeing an introduction of like, hey, let's just introduce, an OpenAI solution, a Copilot solution, just have people use it as a neural MT, if you will. But then how do we manage budget, right? Like, how can you manage and control those insights to ensure that your IT department's not going to get a $500,000 bill after 6 months because there's 500 people submitting content every day? And then most importantly, how do we justify that spend? Go ahead and go to the next slide. And the simple answer is, there isn't a low tech stack that accounts for all of these things. Traditional systems, if you will, were solving traditional problems. And with the introduction of AI, we're seeing a big shift. Next slide. And so what's really needed is, we need to ensure that we have these automated visible workflows across your entire tech stack, connected to all of your content systems, as well as all of your translation tools. And then having those systems in place where they can be manual or automated. So based on content types or potentially quality, and I'll get into that a little bit later. But then, as I mentioned, we need to ensure that there's no hidden fees. Hey, if I sign up to use a solution at scale, and I'm talking like Fortune 100 companies here, guys, right? I need to ensure that it's not going to break the bank and I'm not going to have any internal problems. And again, just like ensuring that you have visibility for any downstream implications. And this could be using an LLM for one of those simple tasks. Again, could be translating content, but as we know, LLMs can be a bit creative sometimes hallucinate, and they can introduce risks if you don't have the proper governance in place, i.e. linguists or internal resources, ensuring that quality of that content is suitable before it goes live. Next slide. Again, no holistic solution. Next slide here. And so as an example, what I'm alluding to, on the left-hand side, what we like to call here at We Localize is a walled garden. In this slide, I really want to state is really representative of what our customers have to say and how we're approaching and what we've done to solve this problem. Most customers, they say they sign up with a provider, even a tech provider, an LSP, they're stuck using, say, the neural MT engines that that provider is offering, the AI or the LLM in this case, because that's the vendor's contract with that frontier lab, or again, leveraging a CAT tool, or even just having that data locked up. One of the biggest things, though, funny enough, is like, hey guys, can you integrate leveraging your AI tech into our internal system? And as we know, some of the companies and tech providers in our industry simply won't allow for those integrations. So our customers are starting to feel a little trapped. So the ideal approach from our perspective, and again, reinforced by what our customers have to say, is allowing this open architecture system to allow AI to connect to your individual content hubs, your tech stack, if you will, being able to capture data within the localization process in a really specific way. Because a lot of AI these days relies on reinforcement learning. That's the practice, if you will, of if a linguist makes an edit, why did they make the edit? And can I leverage that data to improve our LLM-based systems at scale? But then most importantly, when it comes to an LLM, how do I not get trapped into one provider? How can I ensure, and especially when we see this in the market all the time, at the pace in which AI is changing and improving, how can I ensure that I can adapt to that change, right? And then most importantly, companies are starting to experiment a lot internally. They're starting to build. And what's really valuable, and I just mentioned this, that's the data that they've been accumulating. Historically, that was translation memory. There's different flavors of this being slowly introduced. And customers are starting to want to have real-time access to this data so their internal teams can start building out internal solutions. If we go to the next slide, I'll just dive a little bit deeper into these components. And keep in mind, we have this built today. We call this Opal. I do not know why I didn't put it in this slide, so I'm just going to, a little gentle plug there. But as I mentioned, your tech stack, your content. What does this mean? Having an MCP or an API library of connectors. In the world of AI, building out connectors is so addressable. And in the past, and what we've seen, some companies will charge tens of thousands of dollars. That's just not scalable. And typically, from a budgetary standpoint, customers will simply choose not to submit content due to the associated cost of infrastructure. And then what we have is this open orchestration layer. What I mean by that is we have a patent for quality estimation, for instance. So as content comes to our system, we leverage neural MT. We then have an LLM that's doing automated post editing in the form of AI PE. But then most importantly, we leverage quality estimation, an LLM that's operating as a filter to decide if the quality is good or bad, if there's risk that's being introduced. And this allows you to start introducing efficiency and automation at scale. But then most importantly, can I just dump a bunch of content, have you guys do a content type analysis, and then route that content to where it needs to go? And then we get back into the models being leveraged to execute the tasks that I mentioned. We leverage a model garden approach. And what that means is we do periodic benchmarking as new models are being introduced. So as our customers are leveraging our solution, they can ensure that they have the best LLM performing a task on a per language, per content type basis. The benefit of that as well is we have customers that say, hey, we do have an exclusive agreement with this frontier lab. Can we only leverage those LLMs? Not a problem, right? So in other words, what we're looking at is flexibility and freedom to accommodate all of our customer needs, but also ensure performance. And then last but not least, how do we make that data available? So as their teams are leveraging internal reg infrastructure, especially with the introduction of, say, content generation, which is a little new to our industry, if you will, they want to leverage this best in industry approach of being able to get the same insights we're leveraging for localization when they're going, a little bit farther, I guess you could say upstream, to start generating content in those markets. So again, this is really important. We're finding, and the reason that we did this is there's no lock-in for our customer. They're not trapped. They can come in, they can leverage any model, they can have all the connectivity they need, but then most importantly, they can have real-time access to multiple data types. And then again, that best AI, this has been a really big game changer for us. We literally do a benchmark, we'll update a model, we inform the customer of what we're doing, again, just to ensure that compliance, but they're always getting the performance. It fits the stack. We're not running into issues anymore as it relates to connectivity because we've committed to our customers. We're open to connecting to any system that they have to be able to route that content via an AI localization pipeline so they can truly achieve the goals that they need to achieve within their budgetary constraints. And then again, this is just empowering that end user / customer to achieve kind of what the market's demanding of them. We see layoffs, we see all these different things, and upper management or the board, they're simply saying like, why aren't you guys just using an LM for localization? And obviously we know why that's not a valuable out of the box use case, but nonetheless, we need to create infrastructure that empowers these local buyers to have that control and to justify their decisions moving forward. So one more slide. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm just going to jump in. We want to get in some questions. So, this is exciting stuff. Let's maybe hit a couple of questions if that's okay with you. Jourik?
Yeah, I can kick it off. Thank you very much, Kincaid. Very interesting, resonates with what I am doing. And it seems to me you're very good at gardening as well. I do want to open the Q&A here. So imagine a small team knocks on your door, limited budget, limited engineering capacity, a huge tech legacy, cumbersome processes to hire a new vendor or implement a new tool. How do you advise those guys on the implementation of orchestration? How do you open the conversation?
As it relates to me as the individual or our company solving that problem for them as like a new LSP, would that be the perspective?
It could be the perspective, yeah.
Yeah, within that, so the cool thing is with our initial solution, what we've done is we initially introduced simply the localization layer. So no different how we'd look at a neural MT solution in the past. And what we've done is we've made it accessible via all the major TMS systems, as well as via MCP, via partnership with Claude. So in other words, we give them the easiest path to entry to leveraging the most, in our opinion, cost efficient, high quality solution that's available, right? So that's typically where we start. We get the localization solution in place. They start facilitating that content. From there, we then expand upon goals and objectives. Like, hey, if you're doing international business and you're a small team, what is the most addressable market for you to generate revenue? And what is the content as well as the technology where that content's stored? And that's where we then get into the connectivity and the orchestration. The cool thing with quality estimation, though, right, this AI, I guess you could say facilitation mechanism is, hey, if you have internal tech content, like tech doc, something like that, we can go ahead and route it so there's not a human in the loop, still capture that quality. But let's talk about marketing where you're going to carry some risk. Quality estimation will actually come in. It'll lock anything that's really high quality, low risk, and anything that needs to be addressed is directly routed to the linguist. Linguist has visibility the whole time, so does the customer. So in other words, what we do is, again, it's like a crawl, walk, run methodology from a cost perspective, but it allows them to slowly add additional content types and work streams without carrying any risk because they're able to manage that cost as well as the quality as they're doing so. Versus black box, send it over, great, it's human quality, it's all one cost. This allows them to kind of pick and choose the journey based on those objectives.
Excellent.
Got it.
Thank you very much, Kincaid. That's all we have time for. If people have questions, by the way, just put them in the chat, and Kincaid and other innovators, I'm sure, will be happy to answer them. Thanks a million.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah, Jourik, who's next?
Hi, Maxim. Yeah, our next presenter is already on stage. Maxim, good to have you here. You will introduce us, well, not introduce, but you will continue the conversation about automated LLM-powered post-editing. Maxim, whenever you're ready, the floor is yours.
We can start. Yeah, thank you. So yeah, I'm Maxim. I work at Intext, a language service company that builds tools for production localization workflows. And one of those tools is Hera AI, and let's take a look at how it works. Next slide, please. Can LLMs handle localization? Yes, they are powerful, but by default, they do not support production localization workflows. At project scale, it's hard to ensure, consistent output. CAD structure and text are extremely fragile and can fall apart. Terminology may drift, and data control becomes a real concern. Right now, it's not secret that every LSP is trying to apply and to add AI to their workflows. So large companies are building their own tools and trying to sell it. Everyone else is still adapting to the speed of changes, trying to create internal AI tools or using one that are commercially available. We went through the same process here at Intext, and at some point we decided to build our own AI tool focused on two things: cost efficiency for LSPs and data privacy for enterprise workflows. Next slide, please. Thank you. Hera AI is a standalone desktop application that connects LLMs with production localization files natively. It parses bilingual files from Trados, MamaQ, Phrase, Crowdin, and other major CAD tools. It then batches the segments to maximize the LLM context utilization. It sends segments to the model of your choice and returns result in the original file format. It can be as edited in form of edited segment, just updated bilingual file, or it can be per segment QA or quality score comments directly in your CAT tool and in the report. With Hera AI, you can keep using your favorite CAT tool and you don't need to go into conversation of the file. Hera AI is built for mid-size LSP and boutique agencies, those who need production-grade AI workflows without building some internal tools of their own from scratch. We built our software around three production needs. The first is model choice. You can use either a cloud model when quality and speed are the priority, or you can use a local LLM via Ollama when the project requires stricter data control. The second need is reusable AI assistant. You can create separate assistant for specific tasks, for example, for NTP, QE, quality estimation, terminology check, whatever, you name it. And you can tailor any of this assistant to your specific need, subject area, and anything you like. So the same assistant can be used across many language pair. So it's not language bound and you don't need to rebuild it for each new language. And the third need is context awareness. Hera AI does not process segments in isolation. It works with surrounding segments, glossaries, translation memories, client instructions. So the output takes into account actual project requirement and not just generic AI text. Next slide, please. Data privacy is one actually of the main reasons we added local LLM support to Hera AI via Ollama. When you use a local model, your files never leave your environment. There are no external API calls and there is no in-text server processing anything as part of the workflow. So no intermediate, just you and your files, and they never go somewhere else outside your environment. Hera AI makes AI-assisted MTP viable for regulated areas, industries such as legal, financial, sometimes healthcare, and those areas are not fit for using cloud API, and they may not be an option to do so for those industries. Thanks. The next slide, please. As for the results, in the workflows we evaluated, around 90% of Hera AI output was retained after human review. We also observed an increase in review speed from around 450 to 700 words per hour. Actually, there is a mistake, editor was made a mistake on the slide. The 55% figure here refers to speed increase. And in terms of actual post-editing time, this corresponds to roughly 35% of less post-editing time. And based on our production costing, we also saw around 30% decrease in costs compared to traditional MTP. However, those are not universal benchmarks. Results may vary depending on language pair, domain, MT engine, your prompt, of course. Yeah, so don't take my word for it. You can try to do your benchmarks on your own. Next slide, please. Hera AI is how we make LLM-based post-editing usable in real CAT production. It's structured, it's configurable, and flexible enough for both cloud and local workflows. We built Hera AI as LSP, and we've tested it on our own projects, and we are using it on a daily basis. So that is how we know that Hera AI can deliver quality, cuts costs, and scales. If you're interested, just scan the QR code, try Hera AI, and share your feedback. I will be extremely grateful for any feedback. Thank you. That's it.
Thanks, Maxime. Yeah, nice job. We have some time for questions. Just so the production results, I'm jumping straight there, right? Looked impressive. I have a couple of questions. You can just give me quick answers if you have them. So how are you measuring quality and who's doing the measuring?
in terms of quality, our linguists, we measure editing distance from, well, between the versions of the text.
Okay. And do you have any kind of independent validation, or is the, is it grading its own homework, so to speak?
Yeah, only internal tests for now. So yeah, we haven't transferred it to any external validator who could do tests on their own. So it's our internal assessments.
Okay.
Thank you, Maxime. I have a more technical question for you. So you deployed your solution as a desktop tool, which expects physical files. Is that often perceived as a turnoff? Are people sometimes like, oh, amazing, but it would be great if you enabled it as an API endpoint, which I can then integrate in my end-to-end workflows? Do you get that feedback sometimes?
Yeah, you just aimed at the bullseye right here, because yeah, actually that's the question we sometimes hear, and yeah, our program currently works only in offline mode, so no integration right there, and some of our clients indeed want the integration, but it's also a benefit because while staying locally without having any servers and integration, we can make sure that no data transfers is available, and yeah, the program is completely closed. So yeah, for future updates, we consider expanding this our workflows so that API integration for Hera will be available. Yeah.
Understood.
Yeah, I have one other question. So did I understand well that you can use this, in the local LLM versus a cloud-based one? That's an option, is it? Or people can just work
you can choose one. Well, initially we started from utilizing only OpenAI, like a cloud-based LLM to maintain all this process. But then we've added support of Llama, which in itself it can be it can act as a connector for many local models. So there are really a volume of models to be chosen from.
And how many people use local versus cloud? Just roughly, is there a percentage you can give?
Well, most of our customers, they use it as a cloud service. So they prefer speed and quality because, well, local LLMs, they are not as good as, of course, those huge cloud services. But some of our clients, and we too, who are limited for some purposes and for some projects, this NDAs with clients when no data may leave our servers, then yes, we use these local models, but I would say mostly cloud-based services are required for using Hera.
Yes. So you're providing optionality for things like security management, risk mitigation, things like that. That's great. And you're giving us a return to vinyl in some ways, Maxime. That's always a nice innovation to see.
Can I have just a small comment for Jourik? I wanted to express my gratitude for his first presentation during first conference, because he made us really confident of using JSON as intermediate file format for transferring data. Well, that was important point in developing Hera AI. So yeah, Jourik, thank you.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. That's very kind of you, Maxime. Thank you.
Thanks.
Hey, brilliant. Great stuff, Maxime. Thanks a million. Really nice job done there. And hey, Diego, you've been active on chats and commentary, and you're up next. So the stage is yours.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. So what I want to show you today is a tool that we built in-house recently to solve a problem that was invisible to one of our customers. It's basically a desktop application that reads documents that you already have and extracts terminology. And it's something that we developed specifically for one of our customers. So that's how it stands now, and we're going to improve it, of course. It's a desktop tool, and in my short pitch, I will guide you through 4 things. The problem that we're trying to solve, the tool itself, it's not a demo, but I'll show you some screens, and how it works and what it produces. So the starting point was very ordinary frustration. So building terminology is often time-consuming, is slow. Translators and linguists and project managers will spend ages on that. And it's not even reliable because terminology extraction by hand is subjective in a way. So we built something that goes beyond that. What struck us is terminology is already in the documents and the translation memories and so on. It lives inside TMXs and those sort of documents the company already has. So what we do is we bridge this gap and we try to extract valuable data for documents that are already in the hands of the customer. Can you go to the next one already? So the result is this application that you see here is a desktop application as of now. This is where you start, and that runs completely locally. So the data never leaves the user machine. What it does is when it processes the documents, that's where it doesn't leave the computer. So it accepts, as of now, two kinds of inputs, translation memory in TMX files, in TMX format, and PDFs that it can also search recursively. So the user can select an AI model. As you can see, maybe it's too small, but probably you can see it. You can select an AI model for the processing step, and you can browse the files. You click run. There's nothing you need to do on top of that. It's already behind the user interface, and you also get a live log while it's processing the files. So it's very transparent, no black box here. Next one, please. So the interesting part is, I believe, the pipeline. So let me go quickly through it. So it runs basically in 5 stages. First, in ingestion. You can add, as I said, TMX files or PDFs, raw text, and it just takes the files. Then there's a cleaning part where it removes the noise, so the tags and so on. So you just have the text there. Then there is the actual extraction. This is based on NLP. I'm not too technical, and I don't want to be too technical here, but it's based on NLP, meaning that it doesn't yet uses the AI. It's based on NLP, so it's very deterministic. So the candidate terms are extracted. It can be from in this configuration from 1 to 4 terms. And then there is the AI processing stage where the chosen language model does 3 things, basically. Filtering out the false positives, translating source to target, and checks for internal consistency. Because sometimes there is no internal consistency as well. So the design is simple. The complexity is all in the tool, and you just need to press run and it works. With the next, again, there's the full interface, nothing more you need to do. You set the mode, so the format of the source files, and you click browse and you run, and it does work. It's really easy on purpose. First, because for now it's for our project managers, but also if we give it to customers, then it needs to be easy as well. And in the next one, you will see the output, which is what comes out of the application is an Excel glossary, basically a source to target term list, sorted alphabetically as well. So it's already being checked by AI against false positives, and translation have been validated as well. So from there, you can really go wherever you want to go. You can import it in a CAD tool. You can use for LLM translation if you want. There's an asterisk here in the slide. I hope you see it, because I still think that the human linguist overview and review is really still needed. We are a language company, of course, so we develop technology as well, but I don't think that the heavy lifting can be done by technology, but I still think that a person, a human individual, still needs to check everything. But the tool is built to really do the heavy lifting and support that judgment part for the linguist. I'll be quick on the next one, about the results is around 10% faster. This is our internal experiments that we run is deterministic, so it's also very much consistent in extracting the files. The same input will always give you the same output, and it can scale. And of course, there's zero coding because it's as simple as it is. It's a fully working desktop application. So my summary would be: it's faster than standard workflows for terminology. Is repeatable because it's deterministic, and it can handle volumes as well. Next one is really to close this up, and I'm hoping I'm in time. So I believe this is a very simple application, but it solves a very big issue. We worked with it on it for customers specifically where our calculation was we should have spent 160 hours on that kind of terminology job, and we spent only 16. So it was with a couple of probably days for developing the tool. So I think that's really successful. That's basically it for me now.
Diego, thank you very much. Very interesting, very relevant, and it seems very well engineered to me. I want to open the Q&A by asking you the exact same question as the one I asked Maxim. So you developed this for one client, deployed it as a desktop tool, which is perfectly fine. But imagine that adoption increases. Would you consider enabling this as an API endpoint, which you can then use in end-to-end workflows, create terminology ad hoc in a translation pipeline, more AI? Things are evolving at the speed of light. I'm just thinking out loud here.
Absolutely. When Maxime was talking, I was thinking the same. And this is why I said you start with the desktop application, then you move it elsewhere. Absolutely, we want to develop it as an API, integrate anywhere, put it online. I don't think any project manager would want to have a desktop software nowadays or install it. Maybe in some companies you will not even be able to install it on your desktop. So it's going to be online soon. I cannot spoiler it as of now because it's not relevant, but we developed something similar to what I saw before, and that's online with an API for the very same concerns that you presented before.
Gotcha. Thank you.
I have more of a philosophical question for you, Diego, and it is a Friday after all, but how big is the terminology problem that you're looking at here? And, thinking about terminology over the years, like, is it growing again? Is it becoming something which, obviously with LLMs, maybe it makes sense, but can you just talk a bit about that?
Well, I never thought that terminology was important till a couple of years ago. But with AI, I think it's getting more and more important. So yeah, I think it's going to be relevant. It's going to be a big problem still for some years to come at least. AI is not able to be consistent, but if you do a good job on terminology, then you can improve the output. Absolutely. So it's also a big problem because it's a long process to do a good job on terminology. So I think it's going to be relevant for quite some time.
Yeah, and Jourik, thanks, Diego. Jourik, we had last year we saw terminology pitch as well, didn't we? And it was really interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. So last year we ran a poll. We're going to run the same poll after today's session, just asking people which pitch did resonate most with you, and the one around terminology was highlighted as the most resonates with people. So I think terminology, everybody knows it's super important, but it has always been like a more cumbersome thing to do. I think it's more sexy now in the current AI climate.
Can I give you an example? We'll be very quick.
Of course.
I have now currently 1,200 pages project that my customer want to translate with AI, purely AI. No, not even human check. What we are adding on top of that before AI does the translation is we adding terminology work so that AI does a better job. Was not asked by the customer, but still it's something where you can control quality of the output. And yeah, so sometimes it's not even something that comes on a purchase order. I mean, sometimes we do that just because we think that it will help the output to be better, in a better shape.
Great stuff. Dave, do you have time for a final question for Diego?
Yeah, I see one in the chat. Yeah, Jourik, maybe we'll take that one.
Absolutely, please do.
Yeah, so question from Igor, how people and resource intensive was the development process? Yeah, great question, thanks.
It was astonishingly, well, you got it. It was incredibly low, I have to say, because I have a team who's prepared to do that. So it's not the first tool that we develop. I think for this process, I think it didn't take us more than 2 working days, but I may be exaggerating, but because there's been a lot of, knowledge building before that.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. Great stuff, Diego. Thanks. Always great seeing you on this stage.
Thank you very much.
Great job. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Right. I think it's time for us to call our last presenter of this year's Innovation Challenge. Maria, welcome. You are going to continue the conversation about quality, which was started yesterday by Adam. Whenever you're ready, the floor is yours.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you to everyone, to the organizers, of course, and to the attendees. Maybe we can move to the next. What we are going to be talking now is about what means quality today. Okay. The first conference I attended on the translation industry, we had an Italian guy, I don't remember the name, sorry about that, but he was asking all over the tables, getting closer to the attendees and asking, what is quality? And the answer, no one answered what he actually was thinking it was quality and how he was defining it. Quality is customer satisfaction. Now, what is happening now is that quality is moving to perfection to fit to purpose, good enough to fit to purpose. And that actually means a lot of changes in terms of how we approach the meaning or what we are actually doing with how we are evaluating quality and how we approach the full process about quality. So context, risk, workflows, stakeholders, all needs to be taken into consideration when we are defining quality, because it's no longer about the test itself, it's about how we take decisions. We can maybe move to the next one. Now, as an example, I want to talk about what we've been doing evaluating quality and how we've been approaching this. So when we got the clients asking, we want this to be 90%, this model to be 95% reliable, we said, okay, reliable against what? And how do you define top quality or perfection? Because we were doing analysis and asked the linguists to categorize segments that were coming from machine translation, whatever machine translation, LLMs, NLM, whatever, and against human translations delivered and approved by the client. And they were actually telling us, we were asking them to say or to categorize them about what it is good enough. So if it was good enough, click it as good enough, or it could be that both are good enough, one is good enough, or none of them is good enough. 3 people working 10 years with the same client, they were having discrepancies of the categorization of the segments in 30% of them. Now, 30% discrepancies are a lot, actually a lot to be considered. So how are we going to be getting the perfection if linguists are not getting perfection itself or are not agreeing in what it is perfection? And actually, this is the beauty of language, because it's not about a mathematical, 2 + 2 are 4. It's not mathematical, it's much more creative, and we have different answers. And how are we going to be approaching this in the area of AI? So this is not actually a weakness, it is the nature and beauty of the language. And it is about how we deploy our workflows. And we have to design the workflows towards the reality that we have, and understand that linguists or understanding of quality is not the same for the same people. We can move to the next one, please. Okay, thank you. Now, how are we going to be, or how have we been managing these differences or these, I would say, challenges when we are working with hybrid projects where there's an AI solution and also there is a human in the loop sometimes, not in all the tests? How can we be sure that we are delivering the right quality, the quality good enough to fit to the purpose? Well, implementation, our experience has proven that implementation don't fail because of the AI solutions. Implementations generally fail because of the understanding of the human in the loop. because we need to be very clear with our linguists. This is something that it has been the same story over the past 10 years. Since I started implementing machine translation, if we want to succeed, we want to make sure that the linguist in the loop, even if it's only on part of the test, even if it's on the terminology creation, on the preparation of the data, wherever the human is in the loop, we need to make sure they understand the purpose and the framework in which we are going to be using the AI or the solution that is going to be helping them. It is very important that they understand where the value is made whenever they intervene. So we need to be very clear, very transparent, and make sure they understand the tools that they are using. We can move to the next one. 3 takeaways or 3 things that we will recommend any team to take into consideration. I'm going to be very fast here, and probably I'm faster than needed, but then we can have many more questions. So define very well what it is good enough to fit to the purpose. That means that you have to have very clear understanding of the framework and how you're going, which is the purpose of the translation. Each content explicitly will have a different approach and a different workflow. And define the workflow, not a pipeline, but a workflow, meaning that the differences between pipeline and workflow, a pipeline meaning a sequence of steps, and a workflow, decision-making in every step that we're going to be doing in the pipeline. We need to decide whenever a human needs to be in the loop, what is the quality that we're going to be delivering in each step, and what is the added value of the linguist. And then this goes to the third point, is make the human expertise visible. I always ask the same question to the linguist. Is that change, is that intervention that you are doing adding value to what you are delivering? If you are adding value, then the human should be there. If the human is not adding value, then we should take it over. And they should move forward into the next part of the test so that we actually reduce the human intervention to the one that we are needing. That means that linguists need to understand what decisions are making. And that's actually quite difficult, because it's very difficult to balance which is important and which is not.
So, Maria, let me jump in. I just want to get some questions in.
Please go.
Yeah, thank you. I really like the whole, purpose over perfection. I'm not sure who the Italian guy was. It wasn't Diego by any chance. So just a quick question for you. How do you look at, the standardized quality metrics in this regard? Should we get rid of them and come up with new systems based on, that purpose concept?
Actually, we are moving towards that. I mean, the standardized MQM and the DQF are really helpful in certain situations. But part of the story today is that good enough to fit to purpose is not that easy to measure with all that. I mean, I always ask the same question, which is the difference between accuracy error and terminology error? When you have 10 categorizations and you have to categorize an error or a mistake or an improvement that you want to do between terminology and accuracy, oh my God, it's quite difficult when you have a time constraint and you have to deliver the evaluation of the test and you need to take a decision. Sometimes it is the same, could be the same. Most of the time it's the same. And if you ask 3 different linguists, they will categorize it in 5 different ways. So
yeah,
you have to take that into consideration.
Brilliant. We're about on time, but it sounds like you're such a fan of language quality systems and all of this. So sure, people will maybe have questions they'll ask online or reach out. Thank you very much.
Well done, Maria. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you to you. Thank you for everything. Bye-bye.
Hey, thank you. So, hey, Jourik, that's all of today's innovations. We're going to run a poll, right? And if Jill is around, maybe she can help us with that. We'll just do a quick poll before Stefan comes back in. So we'd love to hear your thoughts on, of today's ideas. Maybe you like terminology, maybe you're into quality. Absolutely fine. We all choose our hobby, sport, interest, right, Jourik?
This is going well. Votes are coming in. Purpose over perfection.
great. So maybe one of the ideas resonated with you more, or two of them did. Well, I think we only allow you to vote for one.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you very much for doing that, and we'll leave that open so you can, you know, get your answers in. Second question there, which of those could change things? So slightly different perspective on that. So that's us.
Absolutely.
With the innovation challenge. And Stefan, who's jumping in again?
We're here. We're attentively watching all the sessions. It's a lot to take in like this in just a couple of minutes, back to back to back to back. It's becoming a bit of a blur with my old brain. I have to admit. Yana, how are you doing? Are you keeping everything apart?
Yeah. I'm like with you, you know, it's Friday and it's so much information, but really, Jourik and Dave, you're like our superstars, a master chef, the jury of the Shark Tank. Love it. I think this is a format we need to see way more often, to see the builders, to see what's going on. Diego, I loved it. You know, this is like we are showing the energy that is in our industry, and they deserve as airtime, like you did it.
I actually have a question, Jan, for Jourik and Dave. Is there a big repository with all the innovation challenge participations over the years that you have? It'd be interesting, I think, if you had you could almost write a book with that. I think with hundreds of different solutions that have come up over the years. And one of the things that would maybe be interested is see whether any of the solutions that have been presented to you over the years has done particularly well and made it into the mainstreams, become a tool that everybody's using right now. What do you think of that idea?
I mean, absolutely. We have our vault. We are keeping all the materials in there, and maybe within a couple of years we can do like a throwback Thursday and discuss what happened, what did break through, what didn't. But it's a very good suggestion, Stefan. Absolutely.
Well, we're really. Go ahead.
Yeah, thanks. Think about Throwback Thursday. If you were 8 when the song Red Red Wine came out, remember that song? Red.
Yeah. Simply Red.
You'd be 40 now.
I'm dating myself, knowing this piece of trivia.
You'd be 40 now. Was you be 40? Sorry, very bad joke.
Okay, gotcha.
Hopefully
yeah. It was
person
same
got
error
it.
then.
So, this whole idea is about getting different ideas right on stage, getting people to share them with people, and sometimes they turn into something, and we've seen that over different types of innovation platforms. And yeah, as Jourik says, we'll look at the vault idea. Not sure there'll be a book out of it, but certainly you never know. It's getting a kind of, hey, trend lines and sharing those insights. There's all the layers of insights, as someone was saying yesterday. We have data, knowledge, wisdom, all of those layers. So we'll do something, I'm sure.
Yeah, you could do a networking alumni get together with all the presenters from over the years. It'd be a low lunch production. You can get Jan involved with that. I'm just emphasizing it.
Stefan, this is like the Y Combinator.
Crossing all the streams there. Yeah.
Absolutely. And then we need the investors. Investors, if you are out there, look at these innovators we have in our industry. There's a lot happening. It's not that. We're not just a bottom. No. Here's a lot of things behind the hood. And I think, you guys do a great job in showing them again and again, Log World, here on this conference on GenAI and localization. It's wonderful. Go ahead with that.
Is there a common thread? Is there a common thread, you think, Jourik and Dave, as to how the presentations that are being pitched to you in this type of innovation challenge are morphing or changing? Is there something that you can tell that is changing vis-a-vis what you were getting as innovation propositions just a couple of years ago?
We were talking about Stefan a couple of days ago, and innovation in our industry has always been limited or reduced to, machine translation and connectivity. And now you're seeing a lot more stuff. You're seeing innovations around the whole machine translation process, everything that happens before the process, everything that happens after the process. And more importantly, we are seeing different ideas and approaches and visions and opinions about what it should look like or can look like. And that makes it extremely interesting. So I think, of course, a lot is changing. Things are changing at the speed of light, but it's also very interesting to see how things are evolving on the LSP side, on the buyer side. And I think that's exactly what we want to map out in this kind of innovation platform.
Yeah, I would add that I think you're seeing a kind of a concertina effect of more specific challenges being solved. Now that there's technology stacks, whether it's, translation management systems or other technology within the space and new technology, people are looking at niche problems and then saying, okay, now I have the ability, you saw some vibe coding stuff in this event yesterday. I have the ability to do this stuff. Here's a niche problem. I'll define it well. I know the ICP that has that, and let's go off and create a niche solution. As well as that, we're seeing kind of user experience as an important differentiator. So people are looking at ways to ensure that customers actually have less friction to get access to smart technology, because sometimes it's not just a case of it being available. It needs to be available in a particular color. Our color is, we need security, we need this, we need that, we need these compliance certificates. So your solution has that, another one may not. So it's that kind of nicheness and then the customer experience that definitely seen an uptick in that. Apart from other trends and multimedia type innovations coming through a lot more in the past few years as well.
Awesome. Well, we thank you profusely for a fascinating innovation challenge. 11 great presentations. We can't wait to see the results of the Mentimeter and the second poll that you've done. And wish you a wonderful rest of your day. Go Belgium, Jourik, and
go Belgium. Allez les Belges.
Allez les Belges.
Go Spain for me, by the way.
And we're gonna move right along. We have a great presentation coming next. One of the biggest challenges in localization isn't translation itself. It's getting enough context to make good localization decisions. And localization teams spend countless hours chasing product managers and reading tickets and searching documentation before the real work can even begin. Our next speakers asked a simple question: what if AI could do this part for us? So joining from Yango are two localization professionals who've taken a very practical approach to operationalizing AI. Yana Kolesnikova specializes in localization workflows, automation, and machine translation integration. And then Ksenia Lykina brings more than a decade of experience across software and game localization to the table. Together, they've built an AI-powered context enrichment pipeline that automatically gathers information from product marketing and engineering systems. And I'm looking forward to their session very much. I talked to them a couple of weeks ago. Please join me in welcoming Yana and Ksenia to the platform. Good to see you, ladies. Good luck.
Hi, thank you, Stefan, for that profound introduction. So let Yana share her screen. Yeah. Again, hello, everyone. We will be talking today about how did we make our life and the life of the whole Yango localization team easier. So what is on our agenda today? over the next slide, please. Over the next 20 minutes, we'll walk you through three connected stories. Why we turned to AI for localization in the first for localization context in the first place. How we built the pipeline that turns an empty localization ticket into one with all of the contexts you could think of, and most importantly, how we measure quality so we actually know it works. We've packed in real examples, unfortunately only in screenshots because our security team is quite strict and they didn't allow us to show you the whole demo. Next slide, please. Yeah, thank you. Let me start with the why. Our business has been growing fast. We have new markets, new services, and new verticals launching almost every quarter. And for years, two managers only could provide context for every piece of content that went into localization. As volume scaled, two people simply could not keep up. And the obvious fix, hire more, onboard, wait for new people to ramp up, didn't actually solve it. It made the process heavier to manage and slower, and it still didn't guarantee quality. Most of the context being produced wasn't just good enough. So we asked a different question. Instead of adding people, could we let AI carry the repetitive part of context building, especially for UI, where the patterns are the most predictable? So what we did first, please advance 2 slides ahead. So our first step was deliberately simple and fast. We cut the pre-processing load and the mental load on our managers and coordinators. We focused on the most common case, a routine localization request that arrives as an ordinary Jira or any other tracker ticket. We designed a summarization template and fed it to LLM so the output would be clean and easy to scan. Then we build a flow in NA10 style automation tool. We have our own that detects a new ticket, analyzes it within seconds long before a manager even opens the task. By the time managers open them, they already have a summary. Is the deadline realistic for this type of task? Which languages are needed? And so on. No scrolling through the huge ticket with lots of information. And also we enriched the model's reasoning so it flags potential problems upfront. Again, if the deadline is too tight or we need to create an additional source for non-English source languages. In short, the model tells the manager what to pay attention to. Next slide, please. So here is the example of our typical localization request. I believe this was for marketing. So we usually get a very short description. We have several components and text that we refer to get the understanding of the target audience, service, and so on and so forth. So what we did, next slide, please. Here's what it looks in practice. This is a real summary the system produces automatically the moment a ticket is created. The core facts are pulled together in one place. Again, task description, language list, deadlines, alongside with the model's reasoning. Just notice here that the manager isn't reading the original ticket at all. They're reading a structured digest of it with the essentials already surfaced. And this is the second layer, the pre-analysis. Same ticket, but now the model has gone beyond summarizing and flagged the things a coordinator would otherwise have to catch themselves. A deadline, a missing source, a risky language combination. The takeaway is simple. The manager opens the ticket already knowing what's normal and what needs their attention. But here is the catch. Most of the requesters didn't provide good context, and we couldn't really rely on that to generate anything. And this is where Yana jumped in with a great idea. So Yana, could you please share with us?
Yeah. Can you hear me well? Because I muted myself. Yeah, sure. So my part of the story actually starts with the continuous localization tickets. We had a fleets development team, and we collaborated and had built an automation. So whenever the developer ships code with the new strings, it creates a new ticket in our queue, specifically with the new strings that they added to the repository. And they also have like the list of key links and the PR link, and that's it. The description is totally empty. The name of the task is very generic. It's like named after the PR link and PR number. So the coordinators didn't really know who to address the questions to, where to find the context. They've been hunting for the context for hours and days, and they don't usually have any access to the pull request repository. So there was no way for them to know sometimes who was the author of the strings as well. So I started digging into that and discovered that like about 98% of dev tickets already linked somewhere else, and they're linked to the product task. And the product task is something that already describes to a developer how a feature should be done, how it should be developed, right? So we asked as a team, the developers to auto-link their tickets to our key tickets on creation. And I made like a small automation that every time the sale tickets is created, it searches for the description in the link tickets, also searches if there are any other related tickets, finds this parent ticket with really helpful information, and extracts all the descriptions and sends them to LLM to make the new summarization and enrich it with the ticket. But when we were expanding and scaling this process, we soon realized that too many tickets were kind of noisy, and we had to make like gates to separate what's going into the LLM and what's not, to make the final injection the best one, the best of the quality, so it's accepted by our lovely coordinators. So the gate one was like queue whitelist. We've reviewed actually all the queues that we had. That took us a long time, and then we decided to send some of them to the LLM summarization, and we have an injection layer then to make the enriched ticket. So we've left out like most of the queues and had about like 50 queues in the whitelist. And actually, they're more like the left ones are more related to the infrastructural stuff, the indie stuff. And we also made like a priority list. So if the ticket is related to UI, it first searches in the product queues, which are related to the features. And the marketing, for example, tickets are trying to find some context in the marketing queues first. So every step is actually having some fallbacks. So we are always checking, is there is a parent ticket? Is there is a second level connection? Is the ticket in the whitelist? And if the summarization really add any new information that wasn't already there, and we have the fallbacks like no info, so the system never crashes and it never actually invents the context which wasn't there, because without this fallback sometimes it crashed and invented some crazy features which we've never actually translated to. And we also have like targeted prompting for each content type that we have. For marketing, we have specific prompts which ask the LLM to search for the campaign details, specifically the audience. And for UI, we have the prompt which concentrates on features more. So it makes sense when the coordinators see that. And here you could see how it used to look like. The before is the CL ticket, which was sent to us. It's like a link to the pull request that the developer made, and then a set of key links that need to be translated. And the coordinators opens it and sees the author of the ticket is a robot and has no idea where to go. And after we added the linked tickets, it used to look like this. It started to look like this. The coordinators now see the service, the feature, the audience, and the coordinator basically gets a ready enriched ticket, and they can share it with the translators. And it's like 5 minutes now, so and no like hunting for the context anymore. And at this point, we were thinking, how could we improve it to make it more human-like? And we started thinking about making targeted context generation for each key rather than just having a common feature description for each and every task. And here's where Ksenia is going to share her lovely story.
Yeah, thank you, Yana. You can advance the slide. Now let's zoom into the hardest case, the UI context. So please advance the slide. So what is UI context in terms of Yango? Again, UI strings are in isolated segments, single words or short phrases completely stripped of their surroundings. On their own, they tell a translator almost nothing. This is how our version control system look. We are happy, we are lucky to have a very user-friendly front-end version control system. Each key has a source text, contains source text and target text, and also we can add a context to each key separately. So context is a detailed description attached to each key, and it's assembled from several distinct pieces of information. Historically, this was always written by hand, by people. On the next slide, I'll break down exactly what those pieces are. So to teach a model to write good context, we couldn't just hand it a template to fill in. We had to reproduce the human reasoning behind it. So we decomposed context into its components and traced where each one actually comes from. First, the ticket itself, but the ticket is rarely, as you can see, complete on its own. That's why we pull a feature description from the linked issues. Then there is a basic product knowledge, and this is the hardest part. An experienced coordinator and manager carries a mental map of features and their dependencies built over the years. The internal wiki is never as rich as that tacit knowledge of managers. The real challenge was finding a way to transfer that experience to a model. I will tell about it later. And finally, the UI element type, because you genuinely cannot tell from the screen alone whether it's a button, a CTA, or a title, or a text on a model screen. And that one fact can completely change the translation. And usually UI element type is depicted in the key ID in our version control system. So you can see there are a lot of different sources that context is developed from. So next slide, please. This is where the real work started, and it all came down to a lot of data. So to reach human quality, we took 5 big steps. First, we created worked examples. So we built 300 examples, each with the reasoning spelled out in full context. So we asked our coordinators, just imagine you have to tell a newbie, how do you create a context? So for instance, the reasoning spelled out was like, here is the key in English, and it's like word trips. So the texts that say drivers and taxi tell us this is a driver app, this is a pro app. The description tells us it's a caption on balance changes in the earnings section for drivers. There is the explicit UI element captured in the key ID, so we can assume that this is a caption. The text is short, so we flag it as a plural sensitive just in case. And because the audience is drivers, the correct translation for term would be trips, not rides. So the entire chain becomes the context the model works from. The second step was we took a large amount of iteration, and it went into getting the large amount of iteration went into getting the user prompt right. We enriched it with core linguistic rules and glossary terms, so the output stays consistent across every target audience and every app. And this alone, like 300 examples and the prompt, moved similarity to the human-written gold standard context from roughly 65 to 85% alone. At this point, we decided that's a good time to create a pipeline. So we built a pipeline in an A10. This was the hardest part. The signals that turn raw strings into usable context live in 5 different systems, and we had to bring them all into one place so to stitch them together. 65 to 85% similarity is good, but at that point we wanted to make a step up. So we collected around 10,000 contexts that we gathered over several years for our largest service, Taxi, covering every target audience. On top of this data, we built a RAG index. Essentially, it's a table. We can query via API and search both semantic similarity and by filter. So, for example, the target audience or by the key name. And at this point, RAG was the real turning point for quality. RAG gives us the base for human knowledge we were missing when working with external vendors or new coordinators. It became a fuel for mostly almost a human written accurate context. So the foundation, RAG is a foundation, everything else stands on now. Next slide, please. Here is the pipeline end to end, and the number of each step is the actual number of processes running behind it. So step 1, we pull together everything we know about the ticket, the feature, the keys from several sources, as I mentioned, from the version control system, the tracker, and the RAG index. And here is the retrieve example of RAG. The process is set up to return the top 3 matches for each key. Matches with a score of 0.6 to or higher are considered close and relevant. And during generation, the model takes these matches into account and uses their texts as a source of input data. On the step 2, we generate one shared feature description for the whole batch of keys from the one ticket. On the step 3, and we store it, just store. We generate and store. On the step 3, we generate the unique part of the context for each key individually. This, for example, it includes a part of speech. We decode placeholders and variables, and we add audience-specific terminology where it applies. And this is where the RAG earns its place. It became the product knowledge again that used to live only in coordinators' heads. On the step 4 and 5, we join the shared feature description we generated on the step 2 to each key's unique part to form the final context. And we ship it straight back into the tanker. This is our version control system to write each context per key. At this point, we put it into production, but then we faced the question, how do we measure it? How do we know that the contexts are good? How do we know that they actually help coordinators and don't make their life harder? So this is where Yana is stepping up again.
Yeah, so when generated context is written, it leaves a tag on our ticket when it's successful, we hope. So triggering metrics automation. So the automation basically extracts the ticket links from every ticket, then reaches for the key history and searches for all the context fields, how it was changed over time, and tries to find the latest robots commit where it specifically says like generated content. So like where we know that it's the one where the context changed and it was LLM1. And then we try to find the right next to it, the first human commit right after that one. And we diff the text in the commit of robot and of a coordinator, because the coordinators are always staying in the control. They still have to look through what the generation did and rewrite it if they didn't like it, and they have like free will free access to do that. So to measure how the quality generation works, we actually use these 3 metrics. We they're like really well known, but we decided it's a good approach to have something from the machine translation as well. So we decided that we could take the edit distance metric and Jakar similarity. So basically what we do, we get both of the text from the robot and the human, and we normalize both texts and calculate distance between them, what it takes to make the text A turn into text B, essentially. We have like two types of normalization. The one is like lighter. We get rid of all the URLs because the screenshots can change in the description and all of the cosmetic stuff. And we have the meaning normalization. It's like tokenization, basically. So we lowercase everything and see how many changes there are in the vocabulary. And edit distance meaning is like our main KPI because we could compare both texts without any like punctuation to be changed and affect the scoring. And we also have the Jakar similarity. It's like sanity check for us. We see how much the vocabulary overlaps between the two versions. Is it like reworded or like reshuffled? Is it rewritten completely? And we try to have it like all the metadata we could as much as we can to extract it from the tickets right away. We store all the info about what target audience of the ticket is, who was the coordinator there, and what the service is, so we could see all the changes with time. So this is how we do like a cheat sheet table for us to quickly navigate the dashboards. We could look into it and see, we see like this metric is low and this is high, so it's like barely touched, or it was rewritten. So it's a good thing to have something to calibrate at this point. And what we found really interesting when we started creating the dashboards is that like when you don't have the data and any means, like any metrics to track your changes and implementations, you blindly assume that all the improvements you do, they work better and improve the graph. But in real life, that is not always what's happening when you add AI. Am I right? Yeah, you could see the graph here. We've been measuring all the keys since March 9 when we launched this this whole summarization thing to calculate the context metrics. And here is the edit distance mean and median for all the week between all the keys that we checked. So like the lower is the better, and you could see that April 6th, when we added the link tickets, actually improved the situation. But then you could see it like skyrocketing in May. And a good thing we keep metadata because we got some insights why it happened. Basically, May was 94% users, and it's like the strictest surface that we have there. It's public facing, and the coordinators have the higher review bar for that specific audience. So we that was like a signal for us that we need to implement some changes to the process to make it even more human-like. And this is how we decided to actually introduce RAG to our workflows. And June really showed some really good results because for the users and the fleets, RAG fixed most of the problems that were there. Here you could see that green line is June. It's still going, so we hope that it stays like this at least for a couple of days. And you could see that in user's case, it was like enormous, the edit distance mini. But then in after we launched RAG on June 1st, it was like going down quite quickly. And the same goes for fleets. But the drivers was our next surprise because it's going to be our next priority. We just, think that our main hypothesis is that maybe RAG doesn't have enough drivers examples and we should populate it more. So it's going to be really useful when you have all the dashboards with the metadata to collect all the insights, and it's just showing you where you could go, So good thing to track it all. So Ksenia, you could wrap it up with the rest of the results.
Yeah, I cannot see the presentation anymore. Oh. Okay. Here is what it
I
ended
think
up.
we're slowly running out of time, ladies, but go ahead.
Yeah, we only have one last slide. I
Go
can,
ahead.
yeah, sorry. So this is what it ended up to, and it shows up in two places, the numbers and the things numbers just don't capture. The results, the ticket prep is roughly 2 times faster now. The rewriting of the context dropped by 48%. The edit distance against the final human version also fell, and Jacquard similarity, on the other hand, climbed up to 61%, which means coordinators now do not change the context completely. They rewrite, they just make several small changes. And now we powered all our tickets. We call it Texalog tickets. They are now 100% auto-summarized the moment they are created, all of them. And beyond the numbers, what it actually changed, the coordinator survey that we conducted, the convenience scored up to 4.7 out of 5. So the feature isn't just shipped, it's adopted and it's used every day.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
Thank you very much, Xenia and Yana. I knew right away when I talked to you a couple of weeks ago that this would be a really interesting session, and you didn't disappoint. I'm going to ask my colleagues Maria and Jan whether there's any questions or whether they have any questions. And then maybe you can stick around and talk to people in the chat if they want to tap into some more questions offline in your presentations. Maria.
Yes, we have one question. How do you distinguish between useful context and distracting information?
I think Yana can answer that.
Yes.
The question about the link tickets, yeah.
Yeah, so we have like extensive prompting and layers of checking the results and the outcomes of every LLM step. First, we take like the initial ticket that we have in our queue, then we have the link ticket, right? And then we search for the description from there and ask the LLM specifically to prioritize our first ticket because it has all the information most likely that humans did already, and we ask it to be like the main point of reference. Then we prioritize the link ticket descriptions, and then for the parent tickets, like the deeper level, we have an iterative process that goes and checks all the related tickets which were linked to this link ticket. I'm sorry, this is probably confusing, but yeah, many layers of them. And we summarize each and every one. So if the prompt decides that it's not like useful context, we just send it like all parent tasks descriptions, and it sends like a short one sentence of the summary for this specific ticket, and it's like 5 of them tops. So we made the prioritization, as I said, for the queues. So we take like 5 ticket stops because otherwise it would be like a mess. And if they're adding any extra info and the LLM considers it's like relevant, based on our main prompt, we inject it. And if not, we just like drop it and try to see what's going on with our ticket and the link ticket only. So we try to get rid of the mess. We say specifically like, don't say anything about endpoints. Don't say the API addresses. Don't give us any details which are not useful for the translator. So we like try to do it in the prompting like that. So.
Maria, I don't know if there's any more questions from the chat. Otherwise, from YouTube, ladies.
No, that was the only one. You can go ahead.
There's one more?
There's one more about token usage, but I know we're pressed for time, so maybe the ladies can respond to that in the chat when they go offline and talk about it a little bit more. We need to move on to the
Exactly.
next
Just
presentation.
Stefan, give me 1 second
Yes.
to appreciate Yana and Ksenia. There was a lot of positive comments on YouTube for your presentation. Amazing work, Caroline says. I'm super impressed for such hard work and dedication. Working with content is super complex and not many people are aware of it. Congratulations. And a user said, you did such an important thing to save coordinators time. Fire, fire, fire. So amazing work.
Wow.
Awesome.
Thank
That
you very
must
much,
make
guys.
you feel good, ladies. Maria, I think we have Yana. We have the next speaker in the Maja in the on deck. So I'll let you transition over.
Thank you.
That's right. Join from Croatia, Maja Nebes, who is the Marketing Localization Program Manager at ServiceNow, where she is taking a very fresh look at translation memory maintenance. And we have been all looking forward to your presentation. Maja, the floor is yours.
Hi, Maria. Hi, everyone. It's great to be here. I'm very happy to be able to share one of the innovations that my team and I have come up with.
You can share your screen
So
whenever you are ready.
Yes. Just a second. Da-da-da-da. So you may not know I'm having electricity issues. So I just lost electricity, so I'm dependent on my mobile internet, and everything that I prepared on my other screen is now lost somewhere on my laptop. So please just give me a second so I can locate it. There we go.
Of course.
Okay. Okay. Almost there. Almost there. Let's see.
You have a generator in case something goes down, Maja.
We can
I
see it
do,
now.
but it didn't have time to charge. So that's
Well, no
where
pressure.
that's
You're
where we are
taking it
at
in
right now.
stride, so I'm very impressed. You're keeping a cool head.
Yeah, I was supposed to be on vacation, so I'm taking it cool. So anyway, yeah, thank you again. Can everybody see my screen?
We can.
Excellent. Thank you. So thank you for the introduction, Maria. I am here today to talk to you about how you can redesign TM maintenance for yourself and basically how AI can change what is possible when you own the workflow. So I will be speaking solely from the client side, right? How it is for us and how we are dealing with all the issues that we are facing, and also how we are adapting to the very fast pace that AI has set in front of us. So what I hope that you will come out of this session with me today and walk away with is I will try to show you the practical workflow. So how to architect an AI-powered TA maintenance. I'm going to show you the real gains because we have run a few projects with this TMAI cleanup engine that I've built. I want to continue learning with you where human stays in the process. So how are we designing the responsibility checkpoints? I will show you how we are owning our localization infrastructure and how the TM maintenance is becoming very strategic capability for us. And in the end, I'm going to give a few pointers on how you can plan your own path. And more importantly, the questions to ask before you start building. So it's not just building for AI's sake. So there is a strategic shift that's been happening, especially very, very fast paced in the past few months. And it was very potentiated at Lockworld as well. And that's how much AI has evolved and how much it can execute. And I want to make it very clear that my opinion is that humans still has to govern everything. AI is not in a perfect position. It cannot just take over everything, even though it has come very far from the beginning. So the way I see it now is that localization shifts to a strategic risk and quality governor in AI native operations. So we are in a way orchestrating all the workflows that we are using AI to help us with. So as AI handles execution, our role shifts to governments. So we are setting standards, we are owning quality, we are defining what passes. Basically, the way I see AI's role is that it frees us from the execution alone and gives us time to look forward and to see how we can further improve what our other cultures and other markets can see from us. And one question that is also very central, where does human matter most? So where are we still keeping the human? Where is the human the governing point? And where are we just holding on out of habit? So for us, those are the strategic questions that drive everything we build. Oops. So talking about translation memory at scale, this is what it looks for us and for many other clients that I've been talking to. We have multiple translation memories because, of course, we have to differentiate the content we are dealing with. We have millions of translated segments. It becomes very difficult to govern them. We know the terminology must align across glossaries, across style guides, across brand guidelines, across languages. It's never the same. And basically, the conclusion is that terminology must stay consistent, compliant, and current across our entire TM foundation. Now, I am emphasizing TM foundation because I do think that if we set up our TMs right, we've done half the work. So I want to talk about terminology challenges a little bit. So what about the terminology maintenance? Our historical process was send it to the vendors. Of course, we would give them all the context we could, but it would still be expensive, slow. It is the whole robust process, right? In the background that drives it all. And I started to wonder, what if our team could own this? And then further, starting to introduce myself to the world of AI, what if we could fix terminology inconsistencies in hours instead of weeks? What if we could do it at scale across languages? What if we could do it across contexts? And I do believe that's where the competitive advantage lives. So it is not just about AI translation and tooling, it's more about terminology standards and how we are dealing with them. Now, question that I've been asked a lot at Lockworld, who owns the TM maintenance? Historically, vendors, right? They add new terms through projects when it's forward-looking, when we know what to do, or they conduct a full existing TM maintenance on a quarterly basis, maybe once a year, maybe once half a year. I'm still talking about millions of segments, of course. From the client side, all of those TMs have years of terminology inconsistencies. And we also need to ensure that all the new terms are everywhere across all the TMs. And that is very complex, very expensive, very time consuming, and vendor dependent as well. So if we need a fast change, it cannot really be done as fast as the market demands of it. So I was thinking, what if we could handle both? So what if we could handle all terminology inconsistencies, the historical mess, and also ensure that the new terminology is present everywhere? And once again, what if we could do it in hours instead of weeks? This is where the very interestingly called AI TM rewrite and refresh engine comes in. So I focused it to try to encompass everything that a TM cleanup, TM maintenance should have. So analysis, translation, validation, output. In the analysis part, what the AI does is it scans all the TMs for outdated, inconsistent, non-compliant terminology. What I want to say here is that it is not just blindly looking for something. If we give it a term, say Jenga, right? It will search for all the segments which have Jenga in it, but not just Jenga, capital letter. Jenga lowercase letter, Jenge, Jengas, any sort of like mispronounced words. So it all depends on how you adjust prompt. Once it scans it, it gives you a full list of all the segments that were flagged. Next step is retranslation. What we were surprised with is that Claude AI managed to retranslate flagged segments in context. So that was a very good thing. It also saved us a lot of time. And once it is done, we have validation. So QA checks terminology against glossary, style guides, brand voice. So it's all dependent, once again, on prompting. So everything you put in your project and in your code. And the best part was the output was a clean TMS file with consistent current terminology across all TMs. So definitely my favorite. This is just an environment in which I worked. So this is the Claude AI project, and this is the Claude Code part, which I will explain a bit later. So how does it work? We know it analyzes all the TMs. We know it applies, in our case, ServiceNow style guides and glossaries and brand guidelines. What is interesting here is getting to know how AI works. We also get to know all the, let's say, still shortcomings of AI. And for example, Claude AI cannot process any file that is above 30 megabytes of pure text. So in order to handle all the large TM files, I built a Python-based processing layer. So it connects to the Claude AI and everything is processed directly there, retranslated, but with the help of Python for the large files. Then we know it retranslates, and basically what the biggest surprise was that AI seemed to understand source terms and localization context. And I think that is due to the multiple tests we've been doing with AI to make sure that it understands what is required of it and give it as much data as we could. So validation and output, this is one of the more important things as well, because we don't want AI just to spit out TMX files that we don't know what to do with. We want it to be against tone, brand voice, and terminology standards. We want the TMX files to be clean, ready to import, and no further editing required. We want it to be terminology, style guide, and consistency compliant and adherent. And ideally, we would want zero vendor rework, so audit-ready output. I would put a caveat here that for more important, higher visibility content, especially marketing creatives, and for tier one languages, we do send the TMXs to vendors for review because we still believe in humans and that they know the languages they speak and that they know the audience they have. Also, I built a safety net of validation checkpoints. So we don't want to let AI run havoc, have hallucinations. So each step has multiple reports that it generates. So we have audit reports. It flags the source issues before anything runs. So even if the term itself is not in question, AI will flag, hey, it's supposed to say Jenga here, but it isn't. Maybe you should check this. Or Jenga is in target, but not in source. Maybe you should check that as well. It also generates before-after tables, so nothing goes into the TM without a person, a human sign-off. It also generates HTML verification report. So it's a full record of every change made. So we can run through it if it's a smaller file in Claude AI, if it's a larger file in Python, and session change log for every session. And here you can see heavily redacted audit report example from one of the projects I was working on for Portuguese. So you can see how many segments there were, how many issues there were, and canonical matches, etc. So pretty useful. Now, I want to give you a real example of the project that I mentioned that we ran. So we had 2 new terms, and we've decided to do like a smaller scale TM cleanup for those terms throughout the multiple TMs and millions of segments. Based on the actual vendor data, so benchmarked against it and proven on our real marketing TM, we have estimated that it would take 5 working days for the vendors and cost around $2,000. And at the same time, it was done in-house in 2 hours. So from the project cost, we've saved, well, almost 100%, other than my work hours. And from the time saved, we can see it's 95% time saved with the in-house tool. I do have to say here that it scales incredibly. So it doesn't matter how much more terms you put in or how much more languages you put in, it doesn't really bring the time up as much. While with the outsourcing, it would bring the time and cost up exponentially. So this is how we pictured terminology handling would be in. We wanted AI to be context aware. So it is validated on marketing material. And the engine is scalable to documentation, technical content, UI copy, any domain. It hasn't been tested yet, but we'd be happy to explore domain-specific workflows with anyone who is interested. Because the way engine is set up right now, it could definitely handle same English term that translates differently in UI versus marketing. Okay. So we also want the engine to be able to extend across all languages. So as shown in the project, terminology update matched external specialist quality. So it was approved by the reviewers, and we are now positioned to extend this workflow across all languages. And we want to make it a durable operating capability, and it is very promising to do so. And that way we could establish TM maintenance as a durable internal AI operating capability. So our goal is to reduce cost, accelerate delivery, improve quality consistency. And not just for the sake of it, but we want to invest all that time and all that extra budget into more innovations and into bringing everything that we do closer to people who don't speak English. Below, you can see a scale potential. So this is based on benchmark from the vendors. So if we decided to do a full TM cleanup at this point, it would cost us around $50,000 with the vendors and around 90 days of work. And in comparison, it would cost us 0. I mean, cloud tokens, work hours, of course, but we could do it in a day. So definitely shows how scalable it is.
Maja, I quickly wanted to let you know that we're giving you another 3-4 minutes, and then we want to ask you a question before we let you go. But we're a little bit pressed for time. You'll forgive us at the end of a long conference. But
I'm almost
go
done.
ahead.
I have 4 more slides.
Yes, perfect.
Yeah, important thing is not to confuse fast execution with the easy setup, right? The fact that it's fast is because we already have glossaries, we have style guides, and we've spent a lot of time on prompt engineering. So that's what I mentioned in the beginning. We have to have a solid foundation. Once the foundation is solid, everything else is easier to build on. And another thing, real work isn't the AI retranslation. It's owning the standards that make the retranslation trustworthy. This is a very short investment and break even. So like, what would you need to start doing this? So weeks of work setting up glossary style guides engineering. But I do believe break even would be even after the first vendor TM maintenance task. Skills needed, localization expertise, you have them. And of course, hours versus days in the execution. So what clean terminology baseline is bringing us is faster future projects, higher quality, lower rework because there will be no competing targets against one source, strategic control and cost savings. And I'm running through this now. And the operating model shift is changing from vendor dependent to in-house ownership. And the quality becomes a team judgment capability. And we, like your team, could own terminology standards. And most important thing here, questions to ask before you build. So I'm not saying everybody should build their in-house tools. Everybody should be able to know that they can do it if they need it. And the 4 questions I posted here are, what does TM maintenance actually cost you right now? So if it's a huge cost, if it's a robust system, think about it. Think how you can make it easier. Second one is, where's the real bottleneck in keeping terminology consistent? So is it because you don't have good information from the naming team, or is it because the vendors are having some issues about, agreements, etc.? Third one is, what could your team own if you had the workflow and tools? Can they own everything? Can one person own it? Do you need more people? Are you still going to use the tools? Are you still going to use human reviewers? All those questions are valid and very important. And who decides what good terminology governance looks like? So we're back to who owns TM maintenance. So to wrap everything up, this isn't about replacing work. So we don't want to replace anybody. But with AI being as fast-paced as it is, we need to always think forward. So it's about what becomes possible when you just redesign who does what and why, when you ask the right questions and when you have the right tools. TM maintenance is invisible until it's yours. I'm now involved with it, and it is a pain. But it's a fun pain because I know that if we do it properly, it's going to set up a good baseline for everything else. So we built it because we needed it, and you can build it too.
It's an awesome presentation on a very pertinent topic, Maja. There's a lot of conversations going on about whether TMs will survive at all or not, what their value is, whether we can leverage them, whether they're dirty too much to be able to submit them to LLMs. You certainly have given us a lot of thoughts, food for thought here this afternoon. And I want to, before I let you go, I want to thank you for sitting through the technical difficulties and the electricity outage. We all know what that pressure feels like. I have one question from Zanina Ciesielskova in the chat, and she's wondering about the TM getting updated only if a human reviewed or approved the entry. Isn't that creating unnecessary fake edits for your team? And if the AI did well and there's no need to edit, does the reviewer still need to edit and approve manually? Maja, can we trust the LLM to not hallucinate and just do its thing?
That's a great question, Zanina. Thank you for asking it. So what we are doing now is sort of a combination. So first time we did it, we asked for a human review, but it only reviewed the segments that AI already flagged. So they did not look through the full TM. They did not, look through all of that. And the results from the human reviewer were the same as from the LLM. So that was good. So I would say yes. I do think we can trust it, in a sense, right? Because it is showing up, it's showing works well in segmentation. So not when it translates huge chunks of text. If you give it a segment and you give it very good prompts and very good context and very good background and data, it will know what it does. So yeah, to answer your question, I would say that eventually, yes, I think we won't need human reviewers in all cases in the future.
All right.
Very controversial, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're stirring up controversy on your way out. Maybe I can ask you to stick around in the chat for a minute after the presentation and engage anybody who wants to ask you something else in some conversation. Thank you so very much for sparking our controversy here and making us think. Wish you a wonderful weekend. And Maria, what do we have next coming up?
I think Jan wanted to bring us a question from YouTube.
If there's just a single moment, then there was one from Christina.
Go ahead. We have a hard deadline
Hard
at
stop.
05, but go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead, Jan.
Okay, so for Maria, okay, so for Maja, did you run the process one term at a time or across multiple terms simultaneously? Maria, I don't know if you're still around. I guess. Yeah, you are. Oh, sorry, Maria, not Maja.
Yeah, I'm here. Can you see me?
Okay, excellent.
Hi.
Shall I
Okay,
repeat the question?
So, yes,
or you get it?
I heard it. It's just my internet. Sorry.
No problem.
So you can run as many terms as you want across as many TMs as you want across as many languages as you want. I managed to run a 3 term across 15 plus languages across 5 TMs at the same time through Python layer. So
answers the question. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's it from YouTube. And a lot.
All right. Maria, take us to the next section.
Perfect. Now we are going to our hackathon, where Konstantin and our panelists will review a few selected of the more than 30 submissions that they receive. And of course, they're going to choose a winner. Konstantin, you can take it away.
Hello. So this is the moment everybody has been waiting for. Correction, not 30, 16, I think submissions are live. Right now, if you're watching us on Zoom or on YouTube, please go to the page I submitted to the chat. It's custom.mt mad-localization hackathon. Let me show you the page, and you can see all the submissions. You can see works beautifully presented. You can open for more. You can open the app, code repository, datasets. Some people recorded videos. So please review and then cast your vote. For the winner, we will have a 50% weight from the audience and 50% weight from the judges. Let us hear quickly from the judges. Do we have Gergana, Monica, Stefan? You guys are ready?
We are here.
Gergana?
Yes.
Monica, was it difficult to review all the submissions within the last hour?
I've been reviewing them for quite some time already since we started coming in. So I'm quite far ahead, I think, in reviewing. And it was difficult. The more I've seen, the more difficult it was to remember which was which. And, but yeah, it is quite difficult sometimes, yeah. But they are all on quite high level, I would say.
Excellent.
I've been kind of busy presenting this conference for the last couple of hours. So might I suggest an alternative way of voting, since I haven't seen a lot of the hackathon?
You have 2 hours. We'll announce the winner at 9 p.m.
That's
tonight.
good. So
you still have 2 hours to complete your assessments. And now we'll have 9 presentations, hopefully. So you can still change your criteria. Change your votes on according to the criteria. We have ability to fulfill user experience, technical robustness, and presentation. So feel free to use the time and cast your vote. Now let's go. We'll have 4 or 5 minutes per person to present the works. The first of his name, Gary has. Please, Gary, come on stage and let's see what you've built. You have the privileged first spot.
Hi, everybody. I'm Gary from Heidelberg, and with my team, we worked on Challenge 3, which is a website reviewer. I'm going to jump right in and share my screen. Share. Hopefully that's visible.
Exciting.
So, basically, the main tab, we're going to analyze a website. We would, in theory, enter some URLs. Probably we would want to find a better technique to enter URLs maybe. But I've loaded an example. We can load a set, and I'll start running it right now. So in the
This is the
background,
European Commission website, right?
yes, and I picked an article about staying cool in the water, and I selected some languages. So now the results are coming in. Claude is running in the background. Claude API, we're calling and doing an evaluation. There's two choices: a purely Claude-based judgment or an MQM framework, which would be the more logical choice. So now we can see Dutch is not looking too good. 2 flagged issues. German looks pretty good. Of course, the European Commissioner translators are very good. So there's that example. Now there's another tab, the Analyzer tab. This was the beginning point of the program. Basically here we can analyze a single website or a pair, source target pair. And I'm going to show you a bad example first. This is Estonian to English. I lived in Estonia for quite a while, so I'm a fan of Estonian. I remember 10 years ago, there was a lot of bad translations.
That's a special language group, rare language, not
Jourik, 14
well-resourced.
cases. Yep, 14 cases, very similar to Finnish. Some people say to Hungarian. Hungarians are not fond of that, I hear. So hopefully the results are going to come up in a second. Otherwise, I've saved, okay, here we go, 2.75 out of 10. Not looking good. Linguistic quality, just a lot of typos, basically. Offered, OFFERD, a lot of Estonian left untranslated. So basically the site has a big problem. We'd probably want to send this report to the reviewer. Now, maybe just one more quick example. There's the, this is the Bulgarian example. I like East European news. I'm sort of a news junkie and I surf different news sites. So, and this is one I've looked at. This is going to
And we have a Bulgarian in the room.
Oh, okay, great, great. Yeah.
Then you ask the question, Gergana.
I actually do have a question, and it was related exactly because I run my own test on your solution, and at one point I started wondering whether you have a terminology or some sort of logic that will actually align whether an international name it's also relevant to the Bulgarian one. There is one particular case that I saw in the data that was Board of Peace. And for this particular thing, there is another word in Bulgarian, and your system flagged it as an inconsistency, but actually both are correct.
Okay. The source, if we're using AI judgment, it's purely Claude so far. This is all vibe coded with Claude in about 6 hours. And the other one is an MQM framework, also vibe coded with Claude, but I believe more systematic. So
yeah, I would
honestly,
like to ask about it. I don't actually think it's that systematic. I tested it and I don't think it really works.
No.
No.
Really, Monica, from the go-to, I think it's fantastic. There is a gap in the market with this kind of tool, and Gary's tool fulfills it perfectly. Of course, it can be built up, but look, in 6 hours, we have a tool which was only dreamed about several years ago.
Exactly.
So this is entirely vibe coding. If I was going to attack it, I would go into the question of how are these scores generated, and I wouldn't leave it to just vibe coding, but that's as far as I could get. Is there a minute to show one more thing? I can show you the reports tab.
Maybe 30 seconds.
I was just going to ask
okay,
you,
go ahead,
Gary,
yeah.
like what you would be doing to improve this going forward, because this is very limited time. Do you think switching models could possibly be a solution, and would you have that flexibility that you could switch models?
Yes, in theory, yes. For now, Claude, of course, didn't suggest allowing multiple models. But I also found something very interesting, maybe the last thing I'll mention, on Hugging Face. It's a data science website. can you still see this MQM benchmark validation?
Yes.
There's human data, gold standard data sets is what they call it. And there's a bunch of examples. So I would integrate that and compare what we're doing with that. I think that would be the next step for me.
Fantastic. Gary, thank you so much. I know we're Russian, but
Thank
9
you.
presentation
No, it's
is not
great.
easy.
I appreciate it.
Congratulations
Enjoy.
on your tool. What is the name? Can
Well,
we
it's just
highlight
honestly
the name?
website localization reviewer. It's not a name yet. It's a test name.
Ladies and gentlemen, you know how to find the tool and vote for it if you liked. I think this is definitely a very useful beginning. Gary, again, thank you very much. And let's move on to the second presentation delivered by Gabriela. Gabriela, are you ready?
Yes.
Then
Okay,
take
let
it
me
away.
share my screen.
Good luck.
Thank you. Okay. Okay, can you see it? Yes, probably. Okay, so I have already run the tests because that takes some time. My tool is called Context Minder, and obviously it's a solution to the first challenge about minding the context. I have a background in video games translation, so fitting the translation to the context is very important for me. It's something that we are dealing constantly, especially with the problems with register, with gender issues, and Polish is very difficult in that respect. We need to take into account many difficulties, especially regarding the past tense and gender. Therefore, I was thinking about such a solution for quite some time, and when I come across the hackathon, I thought, okay, that's time to check and see what can I do in such a short time. So here on the left pane, we have some fields where we can put our strings for translation. Here I have translations from English into Polish and the German. You can also drop a glossary, style guide, and character descriptions. If you don't have a separate file with character description, you can also pass some information here. For example, the type of speech, the style, the gender. Here you can choose the engine. By default, it's OpenAI, but you can also copy my whole repository from GitHub. It's here, and use it locally if you use Olama or LM Studio, and if you prefer your data to remain locally on your computer. I also included a tokens usage part so that we can clearly see how much information is uploaded and how much do we receive. It's important, as we all know that the prices are going up. So minding the amount of tokens is also important in many companies. After that, we can see the details, how the tool actually works. It checks the context based on the comments on the style guide, on all the description that we uploaded, and also looks at the strings IDs, which is very often used by translators in video games when we have absolutely no context whatsoever about the game. And as you see, it works quite nicely, because here I inserted a deliberate mistake. The sentence is said by a male character, but I used a female form in Polish, and LLM detected is that it's an incorrect form of verb. It also detects problems with tags. Here, the target German translation doesn't have Latin tags. It detects obviously spell checks, and here it detected a register error that cuchniesz word is too modern. for the registry of the game, which is set in 19th century Poland. Here also problems with the capitalization, with tags of numbers. And let me show you a very interesting error here. It clearly read the string ID about a button and corrected and suggested the correction from an adjective, otwarte, clearly a mistake, to otwórz, which is a typical imperative verb form for Polish for opening any user interface element. Apart from that, apart from seeing the mistakes in the interface, you can also download a QA report to send them back to your external tool, a memo queue, or just to translate to the translators for the corrections.
Amazing. So much we can do in such a short period of time. How did you accomplish this in 48 hours?
Well, I had the idea for some time, and I already have the mock-up game because the style guide, the characters, everything was made up together with Claude a while ago when I started thinking about building something like this. So that was a little bit of a head start. I knew what I wanted to build, but obviously I also had some technical difficulties. Even today, something was broken, and I was really nervous if I would be able to upload everything on time, but I succeeded.
You succeeded. Fantastic. Judges, do you have one question?
No, I just want to say congratulations. It's an amazing amount of context in such a short time.
I have a question. I have a question. So I checked your tool and I found some errors. So I just want to ask, like, how do you check gendered forms if they only exist in one language? So in Polish, you have like wieśniak, but also you have like a feminine form, but then in English, you don't.
Well, it was included, the instruction for these different forms is included in the style guide. So that's the expectation of the developer, that in the languages in which you need different forms for example, monsters or people, you can add those gender forms in tags to add that information.
So you need to have the tags.
Yes.
Okay.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Gabriela. We need to be very concise. Stefan, do you have a quick suggestion?
Yeah, I know. I was going to ask real quick, since you had this idea for a while and now it pushed you over the edge and into production, so to speak. Are you taking this this mini solution to something bigger after the conference, you think?
I will certainly test it myself for some time, and we'll see how it works in day-to-day business, if it's useful, and maybe if it turns out to be effective also for other languages except for Polish and German, I might ship it in some time.
Awesome. We'll keep an eye on LinkedIn.
Thank you very much, Gabriela. Let's move on. William, you're next, followed by Vuk.
All right, thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you. Let me share my screen here. 1 second. All right. Are you able to see my screen?
All good. Loud and clear.
Perfect. So I took the 4th challenge, which is the localization manager's dream. And what I built was I built an agentic system that lives inside Slack. And this agent captures automatically whenever new strings are added to your translation management system. In this case here, I'm using CrowdIn. So this is the system I'm using. So what happens? What is the normal pipeline? It's the normal pipeline of any organization. A developer gets the design, transforms the design into strings, sends the strings to the translation management system, and then what happens? Once this happens, we get messages like this in each channel for each language. Here I have German, Spanish, and Portuguese. But this message comes here to these channels already translated, and it's already translated based on source of truth. What kind of source of truth? You can configure them here in this GitHub repo. It's public. I'm going to make it available. It's going to keep available after the hackathon. And basically, you configure guidelines, guardrails for the translations, because every time the agent translates, it translates with a confidence level. And then you can see this confidence level right here in the message. Once you get these messages, what you can do? You can either approve, edit, or reject. My configuration in Crowdin works the following. If I approve, my translation is going to be marked as verified. If it's verified, it's production ready. So the next build of my project, it will be live. If I edit, I can actually fix the translation right here, right now. I don't need to leave Slack. And then I change the translation here, approve, and this is automatically updated in Crowdin. If I deny this translation, it will trigger a human review. And just to finalize, going back to the functionality of this bot, you can do a lot of things. You can, as a stakeholder, you have all these comments here that will help you understand your project situation. You can get the untranslated strings that you have at the moment from the project. You can ask for the coverage of the project, and this reflects Crowdin automatically. So for example, if I run here log untranslated, what's going to happen is it's going to get all the strings that are untranslated from my project in Crowdin, and I will be able to trigger the translations to the channels. So for example, if I click on localize German or localize Portuguese, for example, messages will be sent on these channels, and they're going to get the messages that we just saw, like approve, edit, or deny. The bot is a little bit
these are for the
slow, but
linguists,
it's
right?
working.
The messages
Exactly.
will be, yeah. So this is
So what
communication
did I
between the
do?
PM.
Exactly. So from my understanding of the challenge provided, I separated the workflow into two things. The localization channel is where the stakeholders live, and the language channels is where the translators live, the localized people live. So they actually approve, edit, or deny the translations. So you see here, the messages are coming from my trigger, and you see it's 0.90% confidence level, the translation. And then you have the source, and then you have the translation. So I'm just going to prove it, and it reflects Crowdin. So you can do a lot of things from Slack. And I also built this platform here, which you can test the flow yourself. So this is the link I can send on the chat. But if you click on Start Demo, this is like summarizing what I did. You as a developer select a string, send to the translation system of your company, you approve, and then you see the production. And I even built this playground. You can test yourself translating any word. So if I type word here and translate, you're going to run this system. Important.
I can't believe this was made in 48 hours, William.
Me neither, man. But recording the video took more time than vibe coding this, because I also recorded the video to explain how it works. But most importantly, guys, this is really good if we build a very good source of truth, which will translate everything with a high confidence level. So yes, that's my project. It's a hybrid system of localization management through Slack via agents, and also this agent that also translates based on this source of truth system. Hope you liked it, and yeah, that was it.
I'm sending a message on Slack to Sergey, the CEO of Crowdin, right away, right now, William. You're going to get a phone call later on this afternoon, I think.
Thank you, Stefan.
Thank you very much. Any important questions, or shall we move on in the interest of time?
Let's move on.
This one was
Perfect.
a slam dunk, no
good.
questions.
Yeah.
Thank you, William.
It was very
Thank you.
impressive, William. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Good luck,
Hello, everyone.
and Elena to prepare.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me well?
Loud and clear, all good.
Oh,
and your
fantastic.
screen is crystal clear.
Oh, fantastic. Okay.
So this is what I built. I built the market fit website, and I actually prepared some quick Microsoft PowerPoint presentation, and I'll go fast to it so we can understand it better what it does. So once again, hello everyone. My name is Vuklazovic, and I've been working in the localization industry for around 6 months. And for this hackathon, I'll build Market Fit. It's a tool for a website localization quality. And let me start here. Localized doesn't mean market ready, and a website can be fully translated and still failed. Let's take this German checkout that show prices in dollars and the USA data formats. So that page doesn't lose customers to a bad grammar, but it loses them to a broken trust. So the job isn't just to translate the web page; it's to make the localized site feel natural to a local person. So this one was example for Airbnb, and let's talk how it works. Underneath, Market Fit automatically discovers every locale the website exposes in HTML. Then for each locale, it crawls and renders the page. And then comes the scoring. It's not just the LLM part. I'll talk more about that in a second. It gives us the scores, and it gives us some fixes that we can use. So let's talk about output. So for every market, you get a score and an explanation. It's an overall score from 0 to 100, and we get 4 weighted dimensions. We have verified evidence and a clear verdict. Is it a fit? Does it need some work or not a fit? And there is a list of issues, each with severity, MQM category, and suggested fix. Previously, I said it's not just an AI score, it's grounded in evidence. That means our script is looking for some deterministic signals that are non-negotiable. Some examples are currency mismatch, wrong dates, percentage of the strings that are actually translated, etc. In the future, some linguistic expert can add more of these deterministic signals. And there is a human in the loop. Humans can inspect, decide, annotate, feedback, and iterate through our system, so our system gets better each time. Let's go to action. I'm probably low on time to see how it works in practice. So this is the main page. Here you can enter the domain of any site that we want to inspect. Let's limit for 4 markets for now, and let's choose the Airbnb for now. Also, there is a optional TMX file that we can include in the LLM context, so it score things better with more knowledge about this domain. And let's just wait for this system to score locales that he found in on this domain. So okay, let's take a look Spanish. Here we can see 7 issues, and for each issue, a linguist or a language expert can inspect, see, fix error, agree or disagree, and give a reviewer note on this.
This is on the live Airbnb website, right?
Yes, of course. And you can pretty much type it any website that has locales info on the first page of HTML. So here we can say it's now fetching. We limit ourselves for 4 locales, and it's USA, German, Spanish, and Italian is scoring right now. And so here is some critical errors, major errors, minor errors. And this is version 1 of this website. When some expert linguists come, he can see does it align with his own expectations. So, for example, we can disagree and say not relevant. After a few iterations, AI will be smarter and know what to do better next time. So after this process, we can download markdown file of JSON file that's a feedback from our linguists. So for example, we can download the JSON file, and let me see if I can load it.
we're a bit short on time, but this is
okay.
This is mind-blowing.
Oh, thank you very much. So here we can see all data from Airbnb with some scores and with reviewers annotations, stuff like that. So we can loop back to the system, make it better each time, and that's basically it. Thank you very much.
Judges, while I'm shocked, what is your input here? Let's ask one or two questions.
I was thinking, like, this is only after 6 months in the industry.
Yeah.
No
This
questions
is-
on my side. I love how you structured everything and how well it was basically backed up by data. I already looked through it and checked it. I love the fact you can actually verify some results or return. So great job so far. On my side, I'm impressed.
Thank you very much.
This is the tool that every LSP wants now, and then we should hook it up with some kind of an email campaign that says to the customer, if you would like to see the analysis of your website, we have it available, and for a small fee maybe, or an
will
offer
get a
to
call.
redo it.
You'll get a call. All right. Thank you very much, Vuk. Elena, take the stage, please.
Goodbye,
Hello.
see you.
Yes, so let me share my screen. You might be seeing something, I hope. Okay, so I worked actually on the second, I think, quest, let's call it. So the evaluation of new models when they come out. The tool is based on two types of dataset. One is a challenge dataset, so a dataset that will basically challenge the machine translation as much as possible. And this is based on the data of the user. So the user can create a new dataset for a challenge dataset based on their TMXs or on their bilingual files. Let's get the right one possibly. And they can select how big the data set needs to be, the domain, whatever. And they can upload the glossary if they want, and then they can select what are the things that they want really checked, right? So what is the priority of the challenges that the machine translation should be able to solve? So for instance, you can have a very long sentences, more than 100 words, or very short segments for UI, for instance. You can have a lot of numbers, whatever. And when you move the tabs, basically, you select the composition of the challenge dataset, and then you can extract it. Once you have extracted the new dataset, you can run an evaluation. So the evaluation runs on different models. So, pardon, you select the challenge dataset first, then you can select an extra dataset that will be merged. So new, client specific, for instance. Let's see. Hello, sorry. And you can select the size of the final evaluation dataset. For the demo, let's go small, but you can move. You can select as many machine translation or LLMs you want for the translation, and you can set them up on the settings. Here you have the models that you can test, and you can add as many as you want by simply adding them over here. They will appear here, and then you can select the metrics. There are some rule-based metrics, usual suspects, which can be improved. Next up, you have QE, and the QE has a prompt that can also be, modified by the user. They can give extra instructions, and then they can save it. For instance, cut at 42 words, and then you can save the prompt, subtitles, I don't know, and save it to be reused, and then reused in the future for the QE. On top of this, you also have the LLM as a jury. So here you can also select the models you want to use as a jury. So jury basically means majority. 2 bads, 1 good, it's bad. 2 good, 1 bad is bad. That kind of things. And you can select it here. When you launch, I will not launch because it takes a while, of course, a lot of LLMs. Basically, you get something like this. So scoring, a ranking of the models. If you are not satisfied by this, you can also send for human review. When you send for human review, you assign to a human. You can also assign a blind review. They will see them here in the blind review. And what they will be able to see is basically all the segments. What they can modify is not the translation, but it's the scoring. Especially for the good, bad thing, this could be very useful. If the segment comes from the challenge dataset, it can be removed. If it's not coming from the challenge dataset, so it's a new segment that the user says, oh, nice, I want this in the challenge next time, they can add it. They can commit it to the challenge dataset. What next? Once it's reviewed and you go, oh no, sorry, that was the wrong one. Of course, this one is the one that I actually did. Once it's done, you have the human reviewed outcome. And of course, you can track this over time in whatever this is called, dashboards, by model, by content type, by language, by whatever you need to show. You have a few other details. You have the statistics, how much you have spent for your various evaluations. Yeah, what next? One more thing that would be kind of confusing if you just see it like that, you are actually able to insert doubles, duplicates. And that is for consistency that you will then see in the outcome. This consistency score, the model is asked to translate one sentence twice, and then the two outcomes are compared. If they are exactly the same, the model is consistent in translation. If they are not the same, then this will lower the consistency score. This is interesting, for instance, for patents when you need to have total consistency. Next up, RAG system for glossaries, more models, of course. I don't have machine translation yet, but should be there. What else? I don't know.
I think we're out of time, but this is incredibly impressive. Everything I ever wanted in an evaluation system. Well done.
Now you have it. Thank you.
Judges. I am particularly looking at Monica because Monica is working in a very similar field. So perhaps you will have a very sophisticated question.
I have two. One is because I look through the whole application and I see that you have a lot of kind of mock data, which is fine. But I was wondering if there is a place where the blue and these other scores are measured or calculated, because I couldn't find that place. I saw that you have error rate and consistency in place and stuff like that, but where is it calculated?
Where can you see the outcome of the blue score? This is what you mean here?
Yeah.
This is no, sorry.
Yeah, but where do you calculate it? Yeah, basically. Yeah.
In the background, that's hard-coded. That would be hard-coded in the backend. But one of the next possibilities is to have a set your own metric kind of tab. Can be done for the advanced users.
Now.
And now it's hard-coded. If you test this, it's actually calculating the real scores. This is actually live. Not all models are actually working, but that is because Vercel will not allow me. But the metrics, the rule-based metrics, they are all working.
Okay. And I have one more question, that if people give you their API keys, how do you make sure that they are protected?
That would be theoretically, I would give this to a very
educated guess.
I would give this to a very human developer, and I would say, make this secure. To be completely honest, I am not a developer. I kind of concoct this in 12 hours and panicked just before the presentation because obviously nothing was working. Now it's working. So I'm happy as is, but humans are still there.
Okay, that's not a bad answer at all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Amazing. Well, Elena, thank you so much. This has been an application that I always wanted, and now it's almost a reality. It's like a dream.
Should have asked.
Thank you for realizing my dream, and good luck bringing this to the stage when it is a serious and real enterprise application.
Thanks.
Now, the next presentation is by Matteo, followed by Christelle.
Matteo, are you ready? Can you guys hear me? Okay, let me just share my screen.
Yeah, good luck.
Thank you. Okay. Oops, hold on just a second. Okay. All right. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes, you're coming clear, no blurring, all good.
Very well, thank you. So I responded to the second challenge, the finding the right model, and I called it Model Waldo because where is Waldo? Where is the model that that is going to work for our localization content?
So you have the same challenge as Elena, so we'll be able to compare the tools side by side.
I do, side by side. That's right. So Model Waldo is a content-aware model selection engine for localization teams, right? How does it work? All right. So it requires you to add. It asks you to add your source content. You could also paste your source content. And by the way, sorry, before going to the model, so what I used ChatGPT as my developer.
Matteo, your screen share is paused. If you could restart it, please.
Oh, is it? Okay, hold on. Stop sharing. Share. Let's see. How about now?
Yeah, all good.
All good? Thank you. Okay. So I was saying, before going into the model, I use ChatGPT as my developer assistant. Obviously, all the files are in repo in GitHub, and then I use Streamlit for the UI. So to run Waldo, in the video that I submitted, I used a marketing content example. So I'm gonna use a UI example. So you can select your content text from your computer, from your system. The Model Waldo right now can also ingest PDF, docs, HTML, JSON. Obviously, this is a V1. And a V2, we can add more document sources. In the case of UI strings, it'll give you a preview. It also, because we're talking about strings, it also asks you which columns contains the source text, right? So you can select the right column, and you can actually see the extracted content preview down here to make sure that the system is analyzing the correct elements. Once you have uploaded your source content, and right now for the V1, the source content is locked into English, and we can obviously expand in V2, then you can select your target language, and there's a few target language selection already, all the major languages. So we're going to select German for this example. The business priority. So what is your, do you have a bias toward quality? Do you have a bias toward cost and efficiency? Or you just don't have any bias at all, you don't care? So in this case, we're going to use cost because, it's UI development and we need to keep the cost down. The urgency, are you going to need the localized content right away? Or you don't have any urgency once the source content is submitted for localization. So in this case again, we're gonna say hi, and then content type. We can let Model Waldo detect the content, or we can add the content ourselves if we know it, and also some content requirements down here. In this case, I have flagged that the placeholder, the tag, and the format is required, right? Because we're talking about UI strings. But if you had marketing content, you probably wanted to flag that a glossary is going to be used alongside the localization, a terminology, a term-based document as well, or brand tone, right? It's going to be important. Trust creation might be required, and all these elements are going to be weighed in the final score when we select the right model. Okay, so once we have all our input in place, then we're gonna run the model. Now the models, how does Model Waldo works? Well, it uses an LLM, and I've only have one right now, one option, GPT for 5.4 mini. It uses an LLM to analyze the source content.
right? So it identifies the content type, the evidence behind the classification, terminology sensitivity, formatting risks, brand sensitivity, legal risk, and other localization constraints. And then those signals are passed into the local scoring engine, which is coded in the backend, right? I used public documentation and benchmarks for the scoring engine, WMT machine translation finding, the Flores multilingual translation benchmark, and then other public model and product documentation from different providers. And the scores considers quality fit, the language pair fit, the content type fit, the terminology and glossary needs, formatting and placeholder risks, brand, transcreation requirements, urgency, and business priority. Like I said before, some of the elements that you put in your input obviously are going to weigh in the score. Now, the output is divided in three parts. There's a recommendation, so it gives you the main model that is recommended, and it gives you a close alternative as well. There's the content analysis that has different level of summarization. There's the recommendation here. It's a summarized reason of why the model chose what it chose. And then there's a content analysis details, which goes into more details of why the decision was made. And then there's also an element of review and QA, where basically the system tells you, look, we think that this is going to have to be reviewed. And we tell you what type of review. Is it brand review, legal review, just a standard review? The reason why we think that it might require review at the end of your content, and what should the reviewer be focused on. In terms
So
of
this combines a little bit a quality pipeline and the evaluator. So this is not only for like the beginning of the workflow when you choose which model to use, but also continuous usage to see if the quality stays on the level all the time.
It gives you a recommendation on the flow, basically saying you can use this model, run everything through the model, but watch it that you may still need some human review and why we think that you're gonna need review and what type of review as well, so that you kind of know what's ahead of your journey. Now, it is an MVP. So I think that for me, if this were to continue, there's a few elements, right? We could add more language pairs matching. Right now, the source content is stuck into English. I think in terms of the scoring system, more documents and more models can be added into the scoring system. I would also want to run more content. I only had really 20 hours to put this together. So I think I would want to run a lot more content through the system to check it and to continue to see how accurate the score is and refine the scoring model. And this is Model Waldo for you guys.
I have no idea Waldo will be found. Judges, what do you think? This seems to be more developer oriented compared to the previous application, which was more like linguist oriented.
I have a question actually, because I had a lot of time to dig into your app because you submitted it quite early. So I was wondering, can you explain the logic behind the language buckets you created? Because I've seen that you kind of put the languages into 3 categories. And I was wondering if it wouldn't make more sense to put the languages according to how resourced they are. So like high resource, mid, and low, you put them into category European. What kind of category is European? And then I was just wondering what made you decide like that?
So that's really a good question. No, I think in terms of language category, look, I'll be completely honest. I would have to go look at it myself because I am not a developer. I think the original idea when it comes to target language, and if I understand your questions, are you talking about the language selection or how they're
I think because when you are selecting the language, you are giving it like a point on how complex it is.
Yes.
And the score is counted from two different buckets of language buckets, and in one you rank them according to how complex they are, and in
Yes.
the other you rank them geographically for some reason. And that's why I was wondering about, because you have languages that are not European but are still more resourced than some European languages. I'm a Slovak native speaker. Slovak is it's a European language, but it's very low resource, for example. Of course, it was not among your languages. I was just wondering, like, why would somebody put such in such, because it's important, right? Like the how you score the languages, that's important, and you put like
I think
how far they are. So I was just wondering about that, but it's fine if you don't have an answer.
I think in the interest of time, we need to move on. But thank you very much for this detailed technical question. But I hope you can stay and send an answer to Monica. This is an interesting question.
I will do. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you. Thank you, Monica.
All right, rolling on. Next up is Christelle.
Hi, Konstantin. Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Thank you for having me on stage.
Should I say bonjour?
Yes, absolutely. Bonjour.
Okay. Good luck, bonne chance. Let's see what you have prepared for us today.
Okay, so let me share the screen with you, if I can find it. Here it is. So I would like to close this. And, no, it's not. So I'll have to start over. Sorry. Sorry about this. I'm gonna have to grab the link again.
If you'd like a minute, we can swap you with Patan and come back to you in a minute.
It's fine. I have it here. Oh no. Yes, let's do that. Sorry about it.
Patan, if you're ready, would you like to go first and give Christelle a minute to prepare?
Yeah, sure. Oh, it's here actually.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right.
It's just that I wanted to close this part because you guys are on the right on my screen. I can't, so it's not very practical. But, I don't see how to do it here. Anyway, we'll do it like this. Can you see my screen?
Yes, everything's good. You're good to go.
Okay, so this is a website, LQA Auditor, and it's designed for well, the whole idea behind this tool is to make quality audits of multilingual websites more accessible. For this tool, you only need two URLs: the source URL and the translated language URL. You don't need any external tools. You don't need to do the review outside of the tool. Here it goes again. Sorry. Don't need to do the review outside of the tool, and you don't need to integrate apps or anything like that. So it's just it's supposed to make things more accessible. So we're going to test here the IKEA website, and so the tool is also designed for both linguistic teams, localization teams, as a diagnostic tool for to identify language quality gaps, and as a tool for marketing teams to audit their websites before it goes live. And so here, if we it's available in 24 languages, all European languages, and I added different models because I kept hitting the quota with Gemini, so I added a local fallback a local rule-based engine as a fallback, which I'm going to use now just in case. So here it goes.
We're going to analyze quickly IKEA, and we get a quality grade C fail. So we need to tell IKEA immediately that they have problems.
Yeah, they do. So here, one thing that I forgot to say is that you have like preset scenarios, just for the sake of demonstrating the tool. And so here you get instantly a quality rating. And this rating is not just based on AI, it's based on industry standards. I used the TOS MQM framework to create this. And it's also based on priority matrix, the priority matrix that takes into account conversion impact, but also high or low visibility of the content on the website. So here we got the score. We have like a report that we can see instantly. We can export the TMX. The TMX is built from it fetches the strings, the source and the target strings. You can export the TMX from that. And most importantly, it has a full workflow for human review that's integrated. So here, for example, if I take the first string, see, like we have, I did it for English into French. So here in French, for example, I would say, the trademark shouldn't be in front of the noun. So I'm going to edit the segment. Okay. So I'm going to edit the segment and I'm going to put it plus, a space is missing here and I'm going to put it here. And I approve the string and I can sync it with the TMX. So as you can see, no other tool is needed. There's no back and forth between tools, no complicated integrations. It makes things instantly available, and it's supposed to be. It's meant to be very accessible. So
now it's a quality grade B. If a couple of improvements, and already we see that the scoring is changed. Well
exactly.
done. So shall we move on to the questions?
Sure.
Please, dear judges, questions to Christelle? We haven't heard from Stefan for some time. Stefan, you're on the spot.
I am on the spot, and I was actually taking a phone call for work in between. So you're putting me on the spot in the most deliberate, embarrassing way. I apologize profusely.
Would you like to Gergana to rescue you?
Yeah, Gergana, rescue me, please.
No worries at all. I actually like very much. I already tested a little bit of your environment because we had some time. What I liked very much is how easy you can edit and you can test out these things. And I also like the MQM, like whether you have it like strict a little bit less and so on. But maybe Monica would have more on the evaluation part rather than the user experience, because that's what I value a lot when I see a report, and I appreciate it very much.
I think I liked your model too. I tried it and I did see some errors with the offline options, but I think that's to be expected. I wonder, you say, I'm actually not sure if it was you because I've seen so many, but was it you that said that you are ISO standard something? Standardized. It was you, right?
I didn't say that, but actually I am. I mean, I just got
I think it was
certified
only
last week, so
yeah, okay. So it was on your website at the end
but
somewhere. And I was wondering like how, where,
maybe
why.
you're just
Say something.
sorry. Maybe
Was
you're
it
just
on your-
referring to this, at the, whatever is in the footer, because it's, well, it is actually ISO compliant.
Yeah, ISO
I
compliant,
think.
that is what it said. Yeah, I was wondering
Yeah.
like if you can maybe tell us a bit more about that, because I was wondering like how exactly it is ISO compliant.
Well, it's a lot of the compliance is already in the workflow. Actually, I didn't really have time to think about it. I think,
Yeah,
this
because
is
I
just
saw it and I thought like, what an interesting thing. Like I haven't seen it anywhere else, so that's why I remembered. But
yeah, a good question actually, because I think the AI probably just inferred that from questions or
It
something
takes a
that I
bit
put
more than this
in
to
the
get
AI,
certified,
because
but
I went through
compliant.
this ISO certification last week, so that's probably why it's added here. It's added here, but let me think about it. I mean,
sorry, I didn't know I'm going
we
to be asking
can.
questions people have to think about. I'm sorry. I was
No,
let
but
me let me
think
interject here. We need to move on. We're already past the hour, and we still have
Okay.
2 presentations to do. Merci beaucoup, Christelle. Donc,
Je vous en prie. Thank you very much.
looks great. And next up, we'll have Denis. I hear that Patan needs a moment to prepare. So, Denis, are you ready?
I guess so. Well,
take charge. If unless Patan, I heard from Jill that you need another minute.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here.
You're ready, right? Then let's do it in the predefined order. Then, Denis, you have the honorable last spot, last but not the least. Patan, am I pronouncing your name correctly? Patan or
that's
Patan?
right. Yeah, it's Patan.
Patan. Nice to meet you. You're representing team OpenText.
I hope you guys can hear me.
With some glitches from the internet, but we can.
At least,
No, it went down.
you can hear me now. So, yeah, we have selected the modal fit, the same idea that has been presented by a few of our representatives here. And that we have here that I'm sharing on my screen.
Yes, we can hear you, but sometimes the internet goes up and down. The connection. All right. Patton, looks like the internet is unstable. So let's move on to Denis and give you a minute to reconnect.
All right. So.
Denis, if you're ready, take it away.
Yep. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah, fine. Excellent. So I worked on a capacity planner, a bot for Slack.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So we have
the project.
two.
Yeah. The
You and
project
William.
is much more minimalistic than the Williams project. That's like way far. So I took it very literally and decided to make a bot which will decide whether the request should be assigned to a project manager, the programmer, or a linguist. So the concept is something like this: you set up a bot. All the instructions are on the GitHub page. So you set up a bot, you connect it to your workplace, and you, for example, you type in some kind of request to a bot, like we need to set up a glossary sync between our TMS and CMS, for example. Let's do that.
Denis, do you think you can restart your screen share?
I guess so.
Let's try. I can see on YouTube you're not showing this screen. Now it's all good. Everything's working now.
That's weird. Is it working right now?
Yes, for me. Can somebody else confirm? Jan, do you see the right?
It's starting up right now. Yes.
Yeah, now we can see it.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. So I just what I just did. I just messaged a logbot that we need to set up a glossary sync between our TMS and CMS, and it responded by creating a ticket and asking me questions, because probably the request is kind of vague, and we can answer the questions, and it will automatically add the info to the ticket. Also, we can claim ticket or push a button that we need more info, or mark the ticket, make it done.
Can you process both localization and engineering tickets in this way?
Yes, I might need your help in that. Like, I cannot come up with an engineering task right now for some reason. I'm way too nervous for that.
Don't worry, you're among friends. You're showing to the crowd of people who is really interested in this kind of thing, and we're all in the same boat. This hackathon here is exactly to highlight that we localization people can be builders. We understand the business needs better than developers who have never been a part of localization, and we can build amazing stuff.
Yeah, well, I'm trying. I have limited time. I'm trying to come up with this with some kind of task, like engineering task.
I don't know. Maybe fix formatting on page X.
Let's do that real quick. Okay, so it says that it needs attention, it's urgent, it needs attention, and it requires a localization engineer to adjust the page layout, and we can claim it. An engineer can claim it, and it also asks questions to figure out some more info.
Is there a way to see how many tasks a person has taken? For example, if we have two engineers, one is very attentive and the other one is kind of slacking around, can the system check who is the responsible person?
Well, I guess, but like by design, it's right now you can check like the total amount of the things, like the total amount of work which is open right now, which are tickets that are not closed right now. So we have a command like log queue for that. Yeah, so right now we have like 3 open tickets which are routed to to some kind of specialist. Yeah, the thing is that some of the tasks right now, the bot right now doesn't automatically like assign a specialist to it. It's like it kind of like arranges them. So
it's an information system so that people can step up.
Exactly. So yeah.
Great. Any one question to Denis? Stefan, you can redeem yourself by asking the question now.
Yeah, no, I was maybe that a thought is appropriate here, and maybe I can reassure Denis a little bit, because almost every speaker that we've had in the hackathon here has started by saying that they're really not an engineer, and then have shown us something that looks very much like something that could only be done by a real engineer in my mind. And so some of the solutions look like they've been worked on for 6 months. Some of them look a little bit more rudimentary, but even the one that you just showed, Dennis, that wasn't maybe the smoothest one, looks way more complex than anything that I could come up with in 48 hours. So congratulations, and don't feel too bad.
Yeah, maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm just way too nervous because I had like a very limited time, and I didn't want to present anything, not worth showing. It's just, the nature of me.
No worries. I think
the audience sends you lots of emojis of support.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank
you very much. This has been great. Let me say that we're a bit over the time, 15 minutes over. So perhaps this is the moment to say this ends the main program, the broadcast. We will wrap up here. Those of you who would like to learn vibe coding yourself, right now Maria Suhareva is opening her workshop on Codex, how to vibe code with that coding assistant or model assistant development tool, MAD. I hope you enjoyed this conference. I, for one, really did. I think what we've seen at this conference gives me a lot of hope and a lot of belief in us, the language folks, that we can do stuff, that we are in the right wave, in the right place, with the right skills. And some of us are learning, others are already accomplished, but together we represent a very capable group of people. And if we need any further proof, then stay with us for October and November edition, the second edition of GenAI and localization this year. We'll see how this story develops. I would like to thank.
I don't want to be rude, but I think we should thank you for organizing the conference, and nobody's really given you any thanks today and over the last 3 days. And we should also thank the people that have been hard at work behind the scenes in the logistics of this and putting this together.
Why don't you go on stage
Maxwell,
and we say thank you to you in a personified way.
Yeah. Jillian Maxwell, Andrew Hickson, Daria Stepanova, thank you so very much for taking care of things behind the scenes. And Konstantin, thank you for a fantastic conference. And also a heartfelt thank you to my co-moderators, Jan Hendricks and Maria Braddock there.
Stefan, and thank you for being the voice and the face of the conference this time. You really put an extra effort so that we are noticed and that people know about the event. Spread the word. Join the final workshop if you are staying on for the premium content, and we will announce the winner based on your votes and based on the judgments by the panel here in about 2.5 hours. So stay tuned. We'll follow up with recordings, presentations, all the things that you need to be prepared for this AI wave. Thank you again. Good luck.
Over the past 2 days, we had the privilege of seeing some remarkable innovations from across the localization industry. Thank you to every company and team that shared their ideas, experiments, and real-life experiences during the Innovation Challenge. As this year's sponsor for Innovation Challenge, we're proud to support a community that's actively building the future of localization. So from all of us at POEditor, thank you for inspiring us and congratulations to everyone who took part.